can go whenever. Hello?
Hey, yo, what's up, guys? You got Manly Soap here for part two, the UCA PRs. And like I mentioned in the last video, at the end of the last video, it's about to get even worse. So maybe not just yet, but we're, we're starting off with a pretty good team, like a top half team, with a high jump shot and sister squad, coached by Phil and Pineapple.
I don't know about coached, captained by, not coach. But
Come on,
yes,
it's the
the
same
great,
thing.
the great Phil Nielsen and the legendary Pineapple themselves make an appearance on UCA, and they've got a pretty deep
That's
squad
that's
as
that's
well.
one couple core.
There's one very powerful
They
couple
got
core
do have this is one of my favorite rosters, to be honest.
for sure.
I think
It's
they have a
definitely
really
up
good,
there. It's a very deep roster compared to like I feel like
probably
a lot
like
of the other
top
teams
three.
probably.
Say
Uh, Taquito's just been voted the COK MVP of just everything.
Goat.
But I mean, he lost. The only game he lost
oh,
was in standard, so not sure how I feel about that. Decent player, Game decent. I don't know who Clouds is. Gadgets is decent. Remaxo is decent. Don't know who Beastrian is. Astoria is decent, and our core is like I guess it's okay.
He's like
So it's pretty cool. It's a pretty good
he's a
roster.
taquito goon.
It's a Taquito Goon.
Yeah, it's like
Okay,
all
that seems
the
that's
Latin
interesting.
American players. They all help each other prep or something.
All right, that's not bad then. They definitely have a pretty strong roster. Their teams are like the teams might be a different story, but the draft the squad they have is very strong. So that's definitely a start. Okay, so are we ready to hop into the teams?
absolutely. Let's go.
Let's do
Let's
it.
get to it.
The
Nice
first team
rain
they
theme to
have
kick it off.
is Rain. Unfortunately,
Another
I've
Raikou.
done the math, and Rain is completely unviable in Gen 8 with boots. Maybe when the DLC moves are released, when they can flip turn, they will be a lot better. But right now, I don't think Rain's viable at all. And this team went all in on Rain. Like this team is Rain with with no abuser outside of Rain, which means that it's kind of shut down by really any team that can reliably run Umbrella. And the picks in the middle are questionable to say the least. With Miltank, Golduck, and Skunk Tank, I think Golduck's fine because it does run specs and it does hit hard in rain. But I don't really see a point in Miltank and Skunk Tank, just because like they open up rain to a lot of other weaknesses, specifically such as fighting types. Like any fighting type is relevant. Absolutely sends this team to the next dimension. Uh, with Metacham, I think being the big one.
Yeah,
So I don't know how I feel about
Medical
this team.
Wade probably. Even like I don't know. I feel like actually no, I'm not gonna say Infernape, but
Yeah, Infernape's not really that big of a problem considering it's rain. But anything
I
with
was just
fighting
gonna say
coverage,
fighting plus like Grass for the Mega Perk.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
I can see where
there's
I
there,
see where you're coming from.
what's this one? Why I forgot.
Yeah, but as a whole, I feel like a well-constructed team with like a few like reliable switch-ins. Like they don't even need to be grass types; they just need to be bulky enough to the point where they can switch into Swampert a few times, and suddenly like you lose all of your physical offense because that's the only physical attacker on this entire team. Not counting Miltank or Pharaoh or Skunk Tank because they don't really run offensive sets. Um, so yeah, this is definitely like it's a rain team, but it's not like
Mm,
it's underwhelming in this generation as a whole.
yeah.
Okay, moving on to
Also
the
to
second
touch,
team.
also to touch on a point you mentioned earlier with Umbrella, I've actually like toyed around with Umbrella before, and it's actually like honestly like a pretty bad item because I think you need to have it like on like the actual abuser's side holding it for it to not have like any effect on the weather.
No, no. Okay,
Yeah,
so how Umbrella works is that if I used it, I had Rain and Oblivion last season, and I can tell how Umbrella works. So Umbrella basically mitigates the damage that you would otherwise take from rain, plus gives you the recovery that you would get outside from rain. So basically, if you're, for example, Necrozma, and you switch into Mega Swampert, and you take a liquidation, you're taking liquidation as if it's outside of rain, and you get Moonlight as if it's
Yeah.
as if it's
I thought
50%
like
and not the full 25.
it's like from what I've seen, the description of it is like kind of vague because I played around like trying to use it like against like a Sun team because like I had a Corviknight and they had like a Venusaur and I thought like if I put Umbrella on Corviknight then Weather Ball won't be Fire type, but it didn't work like that. But then like
Yeah, no. The
yeah,
moves damage output is changed, but the moves themselves don't change. And
yeah,
also it
that's
means
just
that it also means that you can dodge turn T, Hurricane, and Rain actually. Because I missed the Hurricane and Rain against Amanda Boss and got knocked off against Jacko in Oblivion. So yeah, it's definitely, this team is definitely like very strained. But apart from that, I mean, it's Rain. There's not really much to talk about it.
Mhm.
Okay, moving on to the second team. The standard Lop Slowbro Aegis team. Like this team is, I want to say it's boring, but it's definitely boring. Like it's literally like, I would say like the most common Lopunny archetype, where you have the Mega Lop, you have the Aegis, like
It's the
you have the
second
like really
fastest on
solid.
Crook.
Is yeah, that's a big speed jump.
Yeah.
But like as a whole, the archetype of this team is very like common. So the very reliable, strong fighting type with the slow bro to sponge everything in between, and Aegis slash to help abuse what the fighting type mega is way too, where it's just like mons that help support it. Um, it's not bad. Like this team is really good as well. Gets
Yeah,
raped by T spikes. No grounded poison,
true.
so the
They're
Yeah.
T spike
gonna
removal
they're
is
gonna use
Ditto.
Ditto.
The only defogger is also a Rotom so this team is beyond weak to hazards, which is a big problem.
Rotom Heat isn't terrible, but with like an AG and a Slowbro, it kind of invites knock though.
Yeah, this team is I feel like knock spam definitely is an issue, and against something like Klefki that reliably
Yeah.
gets hazards up, like what you can do with Klefki is you can run Imprison, and you can block off the defog,
Right?
and then you trade off your Klefki to get the hazards up, and then Rotom Heat has to find a way to get removal another turn, which is a big
Mm.
problem for this team. Like just spike stack and like hazard stack as a whole just absolutely destroys this team.
You just lose momentum for no real reason.
I don't know about real
Uh,
reason. I don't know
yeah,
about no real reason because like you need the hazards gone for the rest of the team to function, but there is definitely an issue with the lack of removal. Like it definitely is very pressured. From that, it's like a very like basic like Lopunny archetype team, which is, there's nothing wrong with that as long as you fix the hazard issue. Um, it's a good team. It just needs removal.
right, yeah. So I think we were talking about this next team for
Yeah, we were
something
talking about
pretty
this team.
familiar.
Um,
Pretty
the
cool.
thing about Coco teams is that you want to build around Coco in a way that helps best utilize Coco's ability to just effectively break through all of his checks. Since the only Coco resists are like the true counters to Coco are mons like Stunfisk and like Gliscor. But the thing is that Coco just helps pivot in all your offensive threats that helps it take advantage of opposing teams. And this team started off really offensive. So Coco, Lando team, Medicham, like I would say that's pretty standard, but they're all like ridiculously good ones, of course, and they work really well together. Just falls in a completely different direction that I personally do not see as very good.
They
It's
did have
very
1 point
bulky.
left over. Something I thought, like I don't know if Suicune was on the board or not. I'm assuming that like you could maybe like
I mean,
upgrade
Suicune
Milo.
went like undrafted in like every single like division for like every single pool. Suicune basically went undrafted for no reason, which is just fruity to be honest.
I'm not mad
But
at
this
the
team just like
Milotic,
needs more offense.
but I
I don't
don't.
think that Milotic is like should
It's
go.
not
Sorry.
it's not the worst water just because it's more reliable than like a Suicune where it has
Yeah,
recover
you
at
could
least.
either like up. You
But
could
I
either
feel like
like
the
upgrade that or like
Porygon
maybe like
was a little bit weird just because it doesn't, you don't really need the bulk of Porygon if you're going Milotic. Yeah, it just feels weird.
The thing
I don't know
the
what
thing
I
about
don't know what the
Milotic is
Mon
that
offers. That's why.
thing about Milotic is that it just kind of checks 1-1, and that's it. Like it's very deceptive because its bulk, definitely on paper covers a lot, but like in reality, it's because of its lackluster ability to like beat opposing teams, like it doesn't really like have any damage output where like stuff like Toxapex can like reliably like wall things and like put on offensive pressure by fishing for poisons. Like Malossi doesn't really have that. Like you have to like skull Toxic, and if your opponent has like sufficient counterplay like via substitutes and stuff, like Milotic is kind of passive. And then like this team just like has no offense apart from the initial three, which is a big issue because that's all you have for breaking, and you lose so much initiative with any of the mons that aren't Porygon 2. I guess Porygon 2 is an exception if you choose to run one of the. If you run Teleport, you can't run. I think it's Trace. So if you run Teleport Porygon 2, that isn't passive, but everything else is very passive, and you just sap up like necessary turns to keep up the pressure. So I feel like this team will lose initiative quite a bit, which is a problem. Uh, Also, when you drop like mons like Skunk Tank, like it doesn't really like without pursuit. Skunk Tank really isn't very reliable. It's just kind of there. It doesn't really provide you the necessary like pressure that like a Psychic Dark used to do without pursuit. So so this team like can become like very pressed against Spike Stack as well. Since the removal is Coco, Lando T, and Skunk Tank, like that is an issue, especially with Skunk Tank, not necessarily being the most common of brings. Like, what do you fit Defog on, and what do you fit it over? Like, if you fit it on Coco, you don't get electric terrain damage, and if you fit it on Lando, then you're missing like a necessary coverage move to help you beat opposing teams. Like, do you drop like rocks? Do you drop like knockoff U-turn earthquake? Like, what do you drop? Like that, like that's one of the bigger issues of this team. I feel like I just don't see this team functioning very well together in reality.
I do like the Blossom though. I forgot. I didn't know that was 1 point. Like that's still decent for like a 1 point as far as 1 point grasses
Yeah,
are
it's a
concerned.
good one grass. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
Bellosom's decent. No sleep powder though in terrain, so that's something that's a little bit annoying.
Yeah, just yeah.
Okay, moving on. Personally, I think this is my favorite Sword and Shield team that they made. I don't know if you guys agree, but like it definitely like this team has a lot of great mons. Like a round 3 guard jump, that's absolutely a steal.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's well rounded for sure.
very well rounded.
We probably use
Um,
the. I feel like Ambipom is one of the bigger question marks here, but like you have 2 points left over, and there's a grace period coming up. But
yeah, they're
yeah,
probably
that's just like
you
one
can
suggestion.
fix this to be like a really good
Still,
draft.
it's still like a 110 or 115 that can pivot, so it's not like it's a bad fit on this team.
yeah.
Just
My
Ambipom.
personal issue with this team is that um, it relies on Mew really to check fighting types, and
Yeah,
I'm not really fond when your Mew is the only mon that can check fighting types. I mean, look at fighting types against this team. Primarina, realistically speaking, does not switch into any of the fighting types that are considered usually draftable in 8-mon tours. So like and then so that puts a lot of pressure on Mew to cover things defensively. Uh, Apart from that, like this team has a lot of what you want, like on most of these tour teams. Like it has Hazard Stack, it's got the ground up poison in Drapion, which is also like a super good dark type. It checks what it needs to. You have offensive pressure in Garchomp and a reliable Revenger and Arrow, which forces Scarf. And you have pivots in like Rose and Maul and like Mew if you really want it. So I feel like this team is like very solid just as a whole.
This is yeah. This is probably yeah. I agree with you when you say it's their best Gen 8 team. It's yeah. It's got a lot of good threats, like good defense and overall probably decent synergy. I'd say.
Yeah, for sure. Ambipom's whatever. Like I'm pretty sure they only drafted it for like speed tier.
yeah,
Yeah.
and U-turn
But
probably, but
obviously the 2 points left over is a little bit wasted. But I mean, this team
It's
isn't
not
bad.
terrible
So
for what role it fills.
I feel
Yeah,
like they're gonna just
yeah,
trade it
everyone.
though, because they have 2 points left.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a little
It's
strange to
probably
have 2 points left over. That's quite a bit.
Because I mean, I feel like
But it
if
is what
if
it
if
is.
you want this to be your final draft, something like Tauros makes a lot more sense.
For sure, for sure. You're right about that. I think that Tauros is a lot better than Emberpalm. Like, I don't know if they really needed the U-turn, considering like most of these mons are tanky enough to pivot into each other. Like that. Like I don't think it's a huge issue. I guess that like running defog except for Rotom Mall like could be an issue. Could be a little bit of an issue, but like Rotom's a reliable defogger, so I don't think it's that like that bad.
Yeah, they're not that weak to
It's just not
hazards
ideal.
either, so it's not the worst.
Yeah. Okay, we're gonna move on
the
now
only
to
the only hazard
sorry.
weak mon is Arrow.
Yeah, the only
So
hazard weak one is
yeah,
Arrow. And like spikes are annoying, but like they're not undealable with like how many taunt mons slash defoggers they have. So
right,
not
yeah.
the biggest deal. Okay, moving on to Gen 7 now. Being real, this Gen 7 team like is probably one of my least favorite Gen 7 teams. Like I find like this team is deceptive because like it looks like it's good, but in reality it's not very good at all. Uh, Problem is that there's no grounded poison once again. which means that this team, like a lot of other teams, gets raped by T spikes. What is it with people drafting no grounded poison? Like that, like that's such a problem when you draft in Gen 7 and you don't have a grounded poison. Like it is a big issue. Like in any gen really, but like but like whenever you don't have a grounded poison, like you are so strained to run removal that it's just overall like you're putting yourself at a huge disadvantage by not having the poison type option. Secondary, when Greninja and Latias are your only fire resists, like you are going to be like you're gonna have a hard time switching into fire types. And when Scizor is your only steel type, like dragons are really annoying. I feel like Floette's deceptive because like it's a very strong breaker, but it doesn't really have the bulk necessary to cover like most dragons. Like something like Hydreigon, for example. Like if T spikes are up, Hydreigon just kind of dark post U-turn and it kills everything on this entire roster.
If
And
it's
like
Z
Latia,
Hydra, could probably run like Z Flash kind or like Z Belch or something. Probably Z Belch would be the
yeah,
better option to break like Flow
yeah,
each channel because it was
for
pretty
sure,
good for
for
that.
sure. And then like Latios, for example, Psyshock, HP Fire, like that kills everything on this team except for Latias, which
I, f-
you would probably run Draco for.
I feel like the
So
only reason they went for Latias is because they wanted Latios and it got taken. Because I feel like offensively the team is pretty weak immediately.
well, I don't necessarily like think that that's a big issue because I feel like with the way that the first 4 months are designed, it's pretty easy to find setup opportunities with the first four. But then the rest of the team just kind of falls apart. Like I don't really see how these mons, help this team. Like I don't see that how they make this team better. Um, like I feel like if you change the Floette to like a Comfey, and then you change like the Manectric to like a Gastro, like suddenly this team looks like way better than the way it is now. But maybe they really need like Wish Floettes or something. Maybe they really need the breaking potential Floettes.
Could be situations where Wish can be helpful. Sure.
For sure. And then Latios, of course, can carry Wish, although it doesn't necessarily want to.
Yeah,
Manectric, I feel
yeah.
like for 3 points is whatever because I feel like Manectric has a like decent niche. Girder's a little strange, but I mean, having a fighting type is never like a truly bad thing. It's just that this team is just so weak to has, like specifically T spikes, and like fire types that like I don't really love it. Like Infernape, for example, has no switch-ins on this entire team. Like you just U-turn on the Latias, and then like everything else dies. Like that's a big problem.
I feel like you're pressed to run like Helmet Lando to your
Or you might have to run like
Yeah, but
Helmet Latias
the
and
the
U-turns.
Infernape could be HP Ice and then just 2-hit KO you no matter
Yeah,
what.
that's why I say if you play an Infernape, you might want to run Latias with helmets, because that's like the only way you can actually check it. Is like with a max HP, max HP, max
we just
speed
can't
Latias.
U-turn on you for free.
And but even then, like, still puts on a lot of pressure. Like if your Latias ever gets pursued,
Yeah,
you're done
you turn
for.
into Scissor and then Pursuit.
Like that's the problem. And like Scizor and Lando are great, but they don't like, especially in Gen 7, they don't really have the defensive capabilities that they do in Gen 8. So drafting them like without any secondary support for them, typing wise, is a bit of a problem as well for this team.
But with like with a few like trades, you can definitely make this like much more better.
For sure. Next up, we have a pretty standard, I would say, Gallade team. Like this is about, I would say that this is pretty standard. Like this is what most Gallade teams would look like in Gen 7, where you have the Gallade, you have the pivots and Hydra and Zap, you have something like Comfey that kind of like mid-ground checks. You can just like revenge dragons pretty easily. Registeel is nice for the bulk. The problem
I
with
don't
this
really
team
like
for
the
me at
Hydra
least,
Noivern doubles the
yeah, the
dragon.
Poliwrath and the Noivern don't really make that much sense to me. I feel like you don't need speed as much. Like obviously they drafted Noivern for speed, I think. But I feel like
Yeah,
I feel like the points
it's
you
one of the
spend
only
on
things you
Noivern,
draft them on for in Gen 7.
because Noivern's not very good in Gen 7. So the problem with this team really is that um, like it does have an issue with, like fire types once again, I would say, because Poliwrath is very unlikely to come when your top is this top heavy. And like even if it does come, like how does it check like the relevant fire types that are in Gen 8? Like I'm sorry, Gen 7. Rotom Heat, like you're not checking Rotom Heat was not Poliwrath. Infernape, like Infernape, if it's special, like Poliwrath gets easily outmuscled. Uh, and like Blacephalon, if people have it as well, it's like your switching will be Hydreigon, not
Blacephalon
Poliwrath.
is. Does Blacephalon get claim? I don't think it does.
Oh, Blacephalon has no
You're
coverage for.
pressed to run like slightly like bulkier, at least
Yeah,
Hydro Boost.
you would have to run like Z Explosion to hit a Hydreigon. Uh,
Yeah.
that's like your only way, or like HP Ice, but like that doesn't do too much. But as a whole, like when you're like what you could have done is probably have to switch Noivern for like Quillfish maybe or something to those effects, and drafted like a utility mon instead of Poliwrath, and I think that this team would have been a little bit
Fish
better.
isn't like a terrible fit, but I do think that makes it a little bit more ground weak because you're only switching to Zapdos. But you
Yeah,
could probably just
this
fill
team
that
does.
role with the
Well, I mean,
Poliwrath.
you also have
Hydreigon too,
Hydreigon
yeah.
technically, but obviously not the most ideal ground checks. I
Yeah.
feel like whenever you draft Zapdos, you absolutely kind of need a grass, because obviously Stone Edge exists, and most ground types will carry Stone Edge. Apart from like Crocodile, I would say like most ground types will have coverage with Zapdos, whereas Zapdos can't really necessarily hit them back in this gen without Hurricane. So that's a bit of an issue. Like this team is definitely ground weak. Uh, like Zygarde, for example, is a big problem for this team to deal with. I would say, it forces quite a bit of prep for it. Like you need Comfey, you need like Scarf Hydreigon, and like you need like I don't know Shock and Needle King or something. But like Zygarde, depending on the set, like if it's Glare Zygarde, like this team just smoked. Like you're in trouble. So I don't really know.
Yeah.
The first 5 months or 6 months, I mean, definitely are very good with this team. Like they all make a lot of sense. They're all really good together. It's just from there that it's kind of sus and could be patched up a little bit more.
I do like the Gallade Hydra offensive core a lot. I think it can do a lot for teams if supported
For sure.
correctly.
I'm really big on Glade Zapdos as well and Needle King. I
Yeah.
feel like they all like
yeah.
do because the Needle King just like is such a good fit because like kills all the fairies that you can't necessarily kill with the first three.
Oh yeah, is that all we would have on 7-2?
Yeah. We can move on.
I do have a development for Team Clone, but we'll get to that.
What?
Oh, we have a sudden development.
You'll find out. You'll find out soon.
Okay.
I suppose we will find out soon.
I don't even know. So.
Zera, Tornti, Megamedi, Croak, Vape, Whimsy, Steelix, Mach. I mean, it's not horrible. Like the first 4 mons are amazing, and they work very very nicely together. It's just when you build like such an offensive style draft, you don't really want to rely on Vaporeon's defensive utility because you lose quite a bit of initiative every time Vaporeon comes in.
Yeah.
Not saying
Right.
that Vaporeon is necessarily bad, but it definitely sucks up momentum for you. Like you want something more like Swampert, basically,
Yeah.
where like no matter what happens, like you can consistently get rocks up and roar at the very least. Whereas Vaporeon just kind of wishes and passes, which
Even to
is
that extent too,
significantly more
it's like a better
patience.
fire check than any of the other Gen 7 teams, so at least they have that going
Yes,
for them.
yes. At least have their very reliable water, defensively speaking.
Mhm.
Whimsicott, I'm not personally the biggest fan of Whimsicott, but I can see like how Whimsicott is very helpful here, to check what this team is like kind of weak to, such as like Calm Mind Lottie, and um and just overall be a nuisance to opposing teams with the prankster coverage. Muck is kind of horrible,
Yeah.
but if you really can't find like a better grounded poison, at least this way you don't lose to grounded poisons.
I feel like
Um,
there are grounded poisons that are like 3 points and less that are viable at least.
yeah, there's definitely at least Roselia, for example.
Yeah, Rosalia's
So I'm
3.
not sure. I'm not sure if I would have taken Muck myself. But it's definitely an option that exists. And of course, Steelix is a good pick here. But the thing is with this team is just that if you like get the pivots into Whimsicott slash Steelix wrong, it is quite Dragon weak. Dragons kind of like they kind of smoked this team quite badly. Like you do need like an AV Torn or something like that to help support them. I feel like.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the only checks being
Zygarde
Whimsicott and
kind of
Steelix
6-0s
aren't
this
super
team.
ideal since most of them are special with like fire coverage. Yeah, wait, what? Sorry, Colin.
Zygarde kind of 6-0s this team.
Yeah, yeah.
I
If
feel
you
like you're
give
pressed to
Zygarde
bring
like
like something like Encore
you
Whimsicott or
always
bring
need
like
Encore
Scarlet
Yeah, you
Oil.
need
Whimsicott
like
against like
Fizz
Zygarde and
Def,
Garchomp.
Fizz Def Whimsicott. Yeah, which is kind of weird.
I mean, just look at what Z Garchomp does to this team. If you get the Whimsicott prediction wrong at any point, like you lose a Mon, and then what do you lose? Like, are you gonna go Torn on a Z Rock and lose a Mon that way? Are you gonna sack your Vaporeon? Like, what do you sack to like Z Garchomp?
And having 1 point left over makes me consider that they're gonna make like one trade on this team possibly, which might, like we said, like like should probably just stop saying this because like that's the point of the grace, the grace period. You can basically just use your leftover points or just like upgrade or downgrade whatever went wrong during the draft just to make your team more well-rounded and more suitable to take on like what other problems you were facing previously. So
Okay, moving. Let's move on to Oras, and these teams I feel like are definitely a lot more fundamentally sound than like most other Oras drafts, especially Oras One. Oras One's looks really good.
I like
Like
Oris one a
it's
lot.
Yeah,
phenomenal.
it's pretty standard. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I don't really have much to say, like much like
The cool thing about this team is they got 2 out of the 3 Mega Guards, which is like phenomenal.
both the Mega Guard
With
teams that
being,
have have Torn and Ape to support them too.
yeah, that's I mean that's just such a reliable
The only
core.
thing I'll say about
Um,
Aura's 1 is
OS 3 is really bad,
Scissor's the only defogger in Aura's 1.
only removal. Yeah, and
Yeah.
then like the rest of the team is it's I don't want to say it's hazard weak, but definitely like depending on what you play. I mean, Klefki is really annoying against this team. For example, like Klefki is what I would consider like the biggest problem to this team personally. But like as a whole, like this team is very well constructed. Like you don't really see conventional mons that can check all of the offense on this squad, which is such a good thing. Obviously, with most steals being not as able to switch into Pixelate.
Right, yeah.
Like
Even
this team is
if you
really
have the
well.
Scizor that has bullet punch, you can if you play a good like there's only they have guard in two pools, so it's only possible they play one other guard. So it's even if like that guard team is in the hands of a good player, they could potentially just make like a
Like it's not to
Scizor,
say
but
that
you'd
this
have to
team is
make like
perfect, but like it's definitely up there.
have to make like a really weird like mid ground just to cover like
Yeah.
Mega Guard Hypervoice.
I will say though that this team has a lot of troubles dealing with Mega Gardevoir. I mean, sorry, not Mega Guard, Mega Out. Like I do think that Mega Altaria is really annoying. You're
Yeah,
kind of forced to run
with
like Gong
flamethrower.
Shot or like Sludge Wave and Torrent. Like you're supposed to run like Torrent with Sludge Wave, like Infernape with Gonk, and like Scizor doesn't necessarily kill it from full. like from like
Just dies
if
the
it's a
fire
if it's a
blast.
bulkier version, like I'm personally like what I would probably do against this team is I would bring like a bulky DD version, and I think that could be like really annoying to play against. But that's bound to happen when your steel is Scizor, so it's not really something that can be avoided with this team. It's
Could
still a very good team.
you could also bring like support on the sense of like Bilbo Roost 2 attacks and just run like special because like the only hyper voice switch in is Scizor.
Yeah,
And since you're supporting and you're most likely gonna be bulky, you
yeah,
can just kill it with Fire
like you
Blast.
bring up a good point. Like if it's an agility 3 attacks, like Mega Altaria, well, that could be really annoying for this team. But it just as a whole, like this team is well constructed. Like it doesn't have like that many weaknesses.
Mm.
Except for I guess the ice resistant Scizor. So like Gurglady, Weavile, like those are really annoying as well. But like as a whole, it's a really strong team.
The nice thing about Scizor is that Bullet Punch on this on the mon is such like a great move that it just forces most steel
Yeah,
weak mons out because they don't want to risk it.
it definitely like there's definitely enough initiative that I don't think unless you play well that like these threats will be as problematic as they actually are. Should we just talk
Mm.
about OS3 because they're very similar then? Let's just
Yeah, we
jump to
can do that.
OS3 first. This team is significantly worse than the first one, albeit that like
The Venusaur is
There's a
interesting.
few
often
definitely outlier. Yeah, the Venusaur kind of the Zangoose.
With no sun,
They
it's
had 3
definitely
points
interesting.
left. There's probably not that much.
I feel like
It
they
was just
drafted that. I feel like they only drafted that because of the grounded poison problem. Um, it's definitely a bad team. Like Lantern can't be your only water in any generation. Like that just doesn't work. Lantern is not one of those mons that can actually switch into fire types even if it's running max defense. It just doesn't. Not and then this team without like the Hydreigon and without the Swampert like is super fire weak. like it just is. Like you can't really like justify
you're
Lantern
kind
as
of
the only
pressed to
I
bring
water.
like
I
Lantern almost every week.
I
Yeah.
will say that
And
it's
I,
kind of
a big
weird. It's kind of weird that they both drafted Mega Guard, Torn, Infernape, and then you're basically forced into those three mons every week. And so if they don't have a good matchup, it's very obvious that they're coming because you have to bring one of them.
Yeah, I don't really, honestly, I don't really see the first team ever having a bad matchup, but this third team for sure. Like third team, that is a big issue. Like there's just no cohesiveness to the third team. It doesn't really have switch-ins to what like, it doesn't have the same like answers to mons that the first team does.
Still has the
And
same
like
problem
Venus,
with like
like
offensive
if you can
fairies.
convince yourself to bring Venusaur and Zangoose every week, like be it. But like to me, it's very likely that you only bring the first 6 every game, and like if that's the case, then you are going to be pressed against toxic spikes.
Like in
Like
comparison
Venusaur,
to Oris 1-2, this team is much weaker to like Mega Alt, which we just mentioned for the Oris
yeah,
1.
this team has no counterplay to Mega Out except for like Scarf Ape, like because Skarmory cannot like check out like pretty much at all. So like that is a problem. And I can see like a good psychic type being super annoying to deal with for this team.
Yeah, with a
Like
Colbur.
if you have like Mega Zam, if you have Mega Zam, if you
Yeah,
have a guard, if you have a Mew, like if you have Uniclus, like all of these mons kind of like smash this team into itty bitty pieces.
Yeah,
So yeah, there's definitely a lot more to dislike about this build
yeah.
versus the other one. Um, okay, what are your thoughts on RS2, guys?
I like Lucario, but
I'm not
I,
sure
I
about
don't know
the
about the other
Regirock and the
ones.
Sandslash on a team
Well, I
that
think
already
that
has
Sand
them.
Slash is because their only other removal is Empoleon.
Yeah,
But I feel
Yeah.
like I've said this like 99 times since we started this, but this team
no
has no
fire
grounded poison.
resist. Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah.
This team has no grounded poison. It has semi-fire resist. It has a
To be
Regirock, which is
fair,
at least better
the
than
DK
something.
that you're gonna be bringing the most is Empoleon. That is immune to T spikes, but it's still an Empoleon. It's not the most ideal.
It's not the thing is that like Empoleon's not reliable. Like I don't personally consider Empoleon a reliable defogger. That being said, this team has a lot to like about it. I mean, the first 3 are like absolutely amazing in
Yeah,
any gen. Tangos is really good as this team. I feel like it gives
yeah.
a lot of necessary support. Empoleon's a smart pick. Lucario's a very cool mon. I really like using Lucario.
It's pretty fire.
It is straight up fire. It does a lot of great.
It can definitely be a really good win con if your opponent just like glances over
Yeah.
it and prep.
So it's an amazing breaker because I
Yeah.
feel like in Auras, like speed tiers aren't necessarily that relevant
And it has good
because they're like
priority.
the fast mons, like the fastest mons that I would consider relevant are Tornti, Gren, and Weavile. And like if you don't like necessarily like have some like it's not that big of a deal, and for Lucario's speed tier to be this bad when like there isn't that much like
Yeah.
relevant speed
It
in the
gets
first place.
3 forms of priority too. So it's like when it sets up, it's
Yeah.
and they're all good priority too, like E-Speed, Bullet
E-Speed,
Punch,
Sucker, and
Vacuum. It gets Vacuum
wait,
Wave
does it
too.
get Sucker? I don't know why I said
I don't
Sucker.
think
No,
so.
it gets Vacuum Wave, it gets Bullet
Yeah.
Punch, and it gets Extreme Speed.
I mean,
That's
Bullet
it.
Punch is very useful. So I think it's pretty good, but I feel like the Empoleon feels a little bit weird with Lucario and Gran.
The thing that does kind of suck a little bit is that I don't think physical is as amazing because since it's Gen 6, you can't run Mash Lucario. But I don't think that's like the end of the world, really.
Yeah, I mean, you can just have
Yeah.
Bullet Punch for your stab, and just
You can
rely on
run
your
you can run
fighting.
like Ice Punch. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the problem is just like patch the T spike weakness, I guess. Also another issue with this team is that this team does not really have a psychic resist, like a reliable one at least. Like all like
Yeah.
your psychic check is like Encore Mega
Empoleon.
Zam.
Oh yeah.
Because Greninja, if it comes in, it just dies. And Polion, if you take a Focus Blast, isn't checking it twice. And like all it does is roar, right? Like all Empoleon does is roar. So like if you take one hit, then you won't
You
be able
need
to
to
check
run
it again.
Choppel.
Yeah, you need to run Choppel, and then even then, like if it ever gets the second chance to set up, like you're in trouble. So that's personally what my issue with this team is that it definitely has a problem dealing with opposing psychic types. But but like I said, like there's a lot of ways you can get around that. But between like Zam Encore, Lando T punishment, and like punishment Tangrowth, like there's definitely a lot you can do. So I don't think that that would be like a huge issue, but just like situationally it'll be a problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next team.
Uh,
Wait,
as a
you
whole,
need to make your conclusion.
Oh boy.
yes, I need to make a
Oh.
conclusion on this team. This team is very close to being viable teams wise. They're very close. They're very close. They want to be real teams really badly.
I think
They're-
I,
they-
I
but
think
they're
if they
missing,
use
like, one
if
or
they
two
use the
things.
trades well, then it's easily.
Yeah, using the right transactions will make this team like legit contenders.
Yeah,
Because
they-
I mean, just with their depth, just the like overall depth of their of their roster, like I feel like they can get a lot of wins. They just need to patch up like some of the weaknesses of the teams.
Yeah.
Like especially like I feel like it's especially bad in Sword and Shield, but just as a whole, like they can patch all the other tiers
As long
as
as you
well.
fix the teams, like you have a roster that can get you 4 wins per week. Like
Yeah.
that really isn't that big of an issue.
Yeah.
Since you have like you fill like all the captain spots, that's more potential for like team support as well.
Okay. Yeah. If you guys want, we can move on now.
Yep.
Yeah, let's go.
Just Monica.
Okay. You guys can
Yeah,
introduce. You guys can introduce this team if
It's
you want.
So actually, the caps here is Kizu or Cindy, but she's actually on like I don't know if it's a hiatus or it's a permanently from Discord, but either way, she's not playing in this anymore. I believe who took over as captain? Was it
Luxance.
Demon?
Luxance.
So
Luxance.
Luxance.
Their round 1 pick.
Since
Yeah.
their round 1 is now their captain, and Demons is still the co-captain. And you got Rise of Darkrai, very good LC player. Don't know that much about him outside of LC, but I'm sure he can definitely go like over like have a winning record at the end of the season. Then Benny the Bull,
Ghost.
maybe an alt, maybe not. Uh,
I-
we can't
I've
be for
I've
sure.
seen him play, and I will say if he's an alt, they shouldn't be alting. They should be focusing on their main account. That's all I'll say.
And then we
this,
have
this is a true out. Like this is a good out. So this is a good player outing.
and
So.
we have fake techno or is it baby techno? The two mixed up.
It's
It's
fake-
WPF techno.
It's
I don't know
fake
if that's
fake
fake
tech.
or baby.
This is fake techno.
We got fake techno. He was my captain for the WPF tour thing.
I
It's
feel like
definitely solid.
I feel like
But
he's gonna be the most active member in this Discord.
he's gonna, yeah. I don't think most people are gonna like expecting much of him, but he can definitely get his team some wins at
Yeah.
the end of the day.
I just saw him
From
get
what I've
smoked.
seen.
I just saw him get smoked by Mayo into the Apex store. I'm gonna have to hold
it's
off on
Mayo.
that.
Unfortunate. It's unfortunate.
Mayo.
Yeah.
It is very unfortunate. Yeah.
We
Uh,
have Lord T-Bug. I love this guy.
He's gonna play 2 games, maybe.
Yeah, he's probably not gonna be too active because like me and Clone we're gonna pick him because like he's pretty solid as a player and he's also pretty short, but he said the day before the auction that he had an internship that he just started, so he's probably not going to be too active, but either way you're still getting a pretty good player for Thunderbug. I feel like I'm not sure how much he was
He
worth. He
went
was
for
like
like
what, around
10K,
like
I think,
10K.
right? Yeah. But I mean, this team has like
We honestly
34K extra budget,
thought he would be.
so
We honestly thought he would be min bid, but I feel like 10K for T-Bug is pretty fair though. Maybe not with the like inactivity because of the internship stuff, but that's really like out of your control. Either way, then rest of these 4 people I'm not really sure about. So Glenn, if you want to touch on them,
wait, you don't know Spatula? Wasn't he in our league last season?
was he?
who the hell is a spatula?
I don't
Of all the utensils you can name
I don't
yourself
know.
after you call yourself a spatula.
You should- Fork.
We have a
Though to be
spoon.
fair, out of all like the types of footwear, Boot named himself Boot. So
Yeah, misplay. I know IML is probably the best player in this team, by far. I think he's French though, so and nobody else is French, so I don't know if he's really gonna try
yeah,
for this.
there might be like
A
minor
language
problems with, like,
barrier.
a language barrier. Yeah.
And they didn't
But
draft
then
any.
again,
They didn't
that
draft
might
any
be another
Gothitels
thing.
either,
Yeah.
so the French builds are not gonna be there.
Yeah, you need the girl clause for that one.
Um, but I mean, they
And,
have 34K extra, so it's like I guess they'll
34K extra.
yeah, something like
Jesus
that.
Christ, they're
I
gonna
guess
run
I
me.
guess
But
they're gonna
it's
get mids pickups,
It's because
question mark?
Luxon went for like 25K,
and then he became
and
captain.
then now they've got promoted to captain, so now they got the
That's
budget back.
busted.
But like I
That's
don't even know
busted.
if like Killer or Halbada are gonna sign up for mid, so it's like who can you really get that's worth it?
Killer
Alright.
retracted his sign up anyways.
Oh well, GG.
Killer wouldn't be eligible.
Yeah,
So
I don't know.
there's one team Killer wouldn't play for, and that's the overrated Mems ones. We've concluded this today.
Yes,
But,
they're unviable. Beyond belief.
But I'll be honest,
Unviable.
I think this is probably the worst team out of all of them. In
I
terms
don't
of-
agree
in-
with you at all.
in
I think
terms
that
of
this team is-
roster?
I think that the roster is not as bad as the team that is on the very end of the
Oh,
list.
I mean,
No, this is not that bad. The thing is that
Could
like
be worse,
IML is not bad.
yeah.
Like, Techno is not bad. Benny the Bull is definitely not bad. Rise of Darkrai is not bad. I don't know why they would promote Lux and Nice because that's a disadvantage, low key. Because now he
Yeah.
can't play every game, and like that's a problem.
Oh yeah, they kind of wanted him to play a lot.
Like,
He's like,
you would want your 25K player to play a lot.
They should have
why would
they
you
should have
not-
made like
why would you not
Spatula the
promote, like,
captain.
Why would you
Benny
not
the
promote
Bull,
like
Benny
somebody
the
that
Bull.
isn't that good? Like promote somebody that isn't that good to your captain spot so he can play every game. Like that is so much more
Really, just
valuable.
promote Benny. That's
Oh,
that
can
was
somebody
the
check
only
in Hiker? By the way, he wants to join.
Oh yeah.
Bring in the Toad.
Oh, you spoiled the special guest.
Was that our special?
Oh, I
Was that the
apologize.
surprise?
That's supposed to be a surprise. The guys. Okay,
Uh,
our special guest is Hiker. He has negative brain cells, but Hiker's here now.
Is he here?
Hi, Hiker. Say hi. Say hi to the recording.
Isn't-
Hello.
Unroll the
Hello,
toad.
I'm inside. I'm
Hiker, I'll
inside.
link this to.
Would you like
Hiker,
to
I'll
pull
link
up the
this to
UCA team tournament sheet, Mr. Hiker?
Oh, I have it opened right up. I came prepared.
Oh,
Oh
what a
no.
genius.
Okay, you need to go all the way to the
Team
back
prepared.
and find the hashtag JM tab. That's why we're on. We're about to start talking about their Sword and Shield team.
JM. Okay. The one with the Sally Zera.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the first team.
Como
Mr. Hacker Toad, can you dissect this team for us, please?
expert analysis.
Please.
Oh man,
Please examine this
put
team
me
first.
right on the spot. Okay. So there's
What you get for
Sellers.
Johnny?
We're just testing your alcohol levels. We know you've been drinking a lot lately.
No, I definitely
He's been
haven't.
drinking his pain away because of how sad he is.
very sad.
It's too
Yeah.
real.
Yeah, I've been neglected. Okay, so there's
It's too real.
Celesteela, Zeraora, Como Finny, Drapion, Mudsteel, Tangela, Delphox. This is a pretty powerful team at first glance.
This is a discount version. This is a discount version of what I built. Hiker.
What
This
do
is
you
a discount
mean?
version of. This is a discount version of
How
Celesteela team.
how are you somehow making this about yourself?
Oh, bro, my version of this team is like this team, but
this is
like
practically
trickier.
synced video, to be honest.
This is
Fact,
like
this
this
is-
is just a basic build though with the Finny, Selly, Como, all that stuff.
yeah. It is quite a good team, I will say. Except the only remover is Fini. That's not that is Perdemos.
I will
Oh,
say,
fuck,
That definitely
none of these
is.
mons having recovery could be annoying if the game goes after like 50 turns.
They're only like for recovery is like regenerator tangle.
Yeah.
You gotta run like Wish Duck Fox too, maybe.
Yeah, you're gonna rely on like Rest Talk Mudstill probably, but that doesn't work in terrain, so I don't know.
You pretty much have to beat them before they wear you
Yeah.
down too much.
I'm concerned about removal, but like it's not like their mons are like that weak to hazards.
Yeah.
I mean,
like,
Spike
oh,
Stack.
pretty
Look,
much.
Spike Stack is like pretty good
Yeah,
against
Spike
this.
Stack is like
Yeah.
Spike Stack is filthy against this team.
Oh,
But
yeah.
With a good spike stacker here like Granite, it's good night, buddy.
Yeah, and they have no recovery to.
Good
Good night, buddy.
night, good night, champ.
It is good night. it is Perdemos.
Dude, I muted my mic for a second too because he was in the bed like a second ago. Don't need you clowns.
Good night,
Night,
Mister. Good night, buddy.
You guys are so weird.
Hiker Toad. It's past Hiker Toad's bedtime. Okay. Any
Kinda
last
wanna-
comments
I
about Sword and Shield 1, or should we move
I
on? To
I do
Sword
want
and
to
Shield
start Sword Shield 2 though. So, see, you
Yo,
see the
wait,
drag
why are there
expert-
why are there 7
Hey,
points?
I'm getting there. You see the
Pause.
drag
No.
This is already hey I'm not done. This is already a step up from that one overrated Mamoswines team that we do not talk about.
Magic. At least they use their
Like,
points though, you know.
There's 7 points left.
Shield.
I would
It's-
assume they got,
apparently,
like,
if you
maybe-
draft
there's a Mega
Dragapult Sand,
Audino.
oh my god! If you apparently the play is if you draft Dragapult Sand to either not have a complete team, or to have 7 points left over.
The
That's
Hitmonchan,
awful.
like,
I don't get
I'd have
how
to
do you
assume. I
even
can
mess
only
up
assume.
this playstyle.
We wondered that same question when we looked
They
at the
drafted the worst Hitmon.
Are you assuming that they just wanted Hitmonchan? They wanted Typhlosion all over the other options?
I really do think they
Okay, I
got
just
sniped
want-
pretty hard if they have 7
I just want to
points.
say that this team is like very ground weak. Like only ground immunity is Mandibus. Like everything else gets
The team
smashed. by
kind of
ground
gets
types.
torn apart by like Nidos.
Yeah, this team
Yeah.
does get team apart. Well, actually, what team doesn't get torn apart by Nidos? To be fair, but
Yeah, you can. Yeah,
It's literally just ground types in this instance, though. Like all they
like,
need is
all
rock,
ground.
is
Like the
rock
problem
coverage.
is like all ground types dog on this team. Like that's a big issue. Apart from that, is there any like pressing issues about this team other than the 7 points left over?
Everything.
Look,
I could
half
just say that
Half
this
the
team is
team is
unviable.
unviable.
It is unviable. I understand. I understand.
It's quite. Although Mega Audino's kind of drip, so that brings it up a little bit.
Mega Audino is the drip. I can't lie. Mon has Wish. It's so
You know,
good.
listen to the
Oh
same
my
person
lord.
She was calling Volcanion drip last night.
That's true.
Canyon, yes.
Alright,
Dude,
let's
dude,
stop before
dude,
Hyper.
I am the best Volcanion user you'll ever see.
You're the only
also know
Volcanion
it.
user we'll ever see.
And Zate knows it.
Yep. I remember mocking against Volcanion quite a few times. Right instantly to my show Smash Blastoise. Horrible mon.
On me.
Terrible.
Yeah, I forgot that was a thing, cause like it's a Blastoise.
Yeah. I could forgot that Blastoise learns Earthquake and just sacked it. It's so bad.
Dude, I thought the Blastoise. I thought I'd just wall it with Volk, and then he just spot me with that. I was like, fuck.
Okay. keep staying on track. Stay on track. Because Hiker's
I don't
distracting.
really think
so.
there's much else to mention about this team. Like, it's obviously Gray's
Yes,
fodder,
I think that this
right?
team needs to take a calculator and recount their points. I don't think that their points add up very well. They might need to start. They might need some tutoring
But
lessons from
the
Hiker's
thing
math.
is, how does this even happen though? Like didn't you get like 20 like FAs for this? How do you still have
These are
14.
these are
incomplete
14,
of
actually.
the
these are
draft?
these are pre FAs. FAs are starting.
I think this team needed 20.
Saying this team needed 20. If you think that this team needed 20, you should go look at the overrated mammal science drafts, and then you
No,
might,
I
and then
don't.
might, and then they might need
I
50.
can't, I've seen a KHT draft before. I don't need to see 10 of them.
Oh, don't murder.
It's
Okay,
tough.
okay, let's move on. Let's move on. Let's move on.
I do have grounds to expose KHD because of some some interesting things he said in the DGBA council, but I will cease.
Oh, you are cease.
You can't just say that then cease.
I will tell you people in private. Do not worry.
Not
Okay.
worry. Okay, okay. What do you guys think
Wait,
about
okay.
this late Clef Chomp team?
I feel it's very slow.
Punch Crow!
It's too slow, I think. In
This is
Sword
the
and
first
Shield.
Hunch Grove team we've seen.
Honchkrow for 4 is kind of a steal, but Gallade as your fastest in this gen is kind of whack.
I
I'll
feel
tell you
like
what this team does
it's
have. Has a
it
grounded
loses to
poison.
defensive psychics. Psychics reap this so bad.
Uniclus
What about
just
the
you just
Honchkrow?
want sword power of Uniclus here.
Right, you can't pursue the Uniclus. That's the
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah.
Well, and that's assuming that they bring the Hunch Crow to begin with. So
They
it's
have to-
like,
Maybe like
That is-
Trick Rotom
yes.
can deal with it kinda, but yeah, it is a problem.
yeah, it just puts on a lot of pressure.
I feel like with this team though, like it doesn't like. I feel like this team's like a lot better constructed, at least than like most of the other Gallade teams that we've seen. Just because like I don't feel like this team has like as many pressing like weaknesses apart from like the big psychic problem where your dark type doesn't really check the psychics at all. Like long term speaking, especially because it's not very like it's not reliable. You don't really expect Hunter to come, and if it does, like what do you bench for it? That comes into question. So
Like, there's definitely all the other 7 picks are definitely like in most cases are gonna be more optimal than a Hunch Crow. Like that's for sure.
Yeah.
whole the team's not bad though, except for like that one psychic problem, like the problem with psychics. I'm not quite sure. Hiker, Hiker, what do you think? Anything else about this team?
After careful analysis, it doesn't look too bad outside of that. I think.
Yeah. Okay. So this team is passable. We'll give it a B plus. We'll give it a B
It's
plus.
It's not. I don't know. Like it's not bad. Some of the synergies there. Just some of the mons are kind of
Yeah.
mid.
Kind of okay. Okay. Sword and Shield 4. Coco, Scizor, Latios, Seismitoad, Silvally, Regirock,
Coco.
Quilladin, Glalie.
3 points.
Okay, once again,
Dark
for
type
the,
is
for the
Silvally.
No grounded
100th
poison.
time, here's the grounded poison.
The
God,
fans.
It's
Oh,
it's
there's
it's
Silvally
Silvally
right
poison,
there.
yeah. Obviously.
I feel
It needs to be
eliminated.
your dark too. Like
Yeah, that
they
is
have
that is
the
dark type.
best Steve Fogger in the game.
What is it? Empoleon?
Silvally?
Silvally is no Empoleon.
Empoleon, what is this?
Best
MD?
Fogger. Bro,
What the?
don't disrespect Empoleon like this. Empoleon's the best
You do
offensive
not
water in the
know.
game. So good. Oh my lord. Nah, okay, being real. Like this team definitely fits more of the offensive teams. Like this is the first like Coco team out of like all of the Coco teams that is actually an offensively based team,
Yeah.
which is just surprising to say the least. That there's only one team with Coco that is offensive. That is pretty much.
This is pretty nice to be honest. It's
Glalie is pretty fire, I will say.
Like I feel like this team is pretty nice. It just probably relies on Silvally to do a lot.
But it doesn't have return
just,
though, I
just-
realized.
I would have picked something over Regirock. I think Regirock doesn't really fulfill a role.
Yeah, they had
I
points
feel like
too.
what you would need I feel like what you need Regirock for, you already fill with Coco plus Seismitoad.
Yeah.
pretty much, except for like Stealth Rocks, which I guess makes sense because they only have Seismitoad as the only auto rocker.
They could have went like Grottle instead of Quilled and then upgrade Regirock to something way
No,
better.
not
Mm,
no,
Oh,
not
don't start,
Grottle,
don't
not
The
start.
Grotto.
Hacker will get pissed.
no,
Hacker thinks Grottle is unviable.
Or Torterra. Torterra works
It
too.
is
Oh,
that is
Torterra, that
slightly
one's
less
so good.
unviable. That's fine.
Torterra, it's so good. It almost beat Gypsy King and DPO. Fireball.
whoa.
What the fuck are you going on about now?
It's Frog actually.
Oh
What
my oh my
Censor
bad. I just saw you
yourself.
demonetized.
Could you?
There goes our money.
Alright,
There
alright.
goes our 25-cent YouTube money used to pay
Okay,
friends rent.
Okay, Hacker. Let's be real here though. Mega Glalie is the drip mon.
It
That's why
is.
we can speak
Yes,
from experience.
I like Glalie with this type of build. It's
Yeah,
nice.
Glalie,
And 6
Glalie
is a pretty
Coco
good
is
price for
pretty
it.
fire.
It's
Nope.
pretty
Yeah.
far because I feel like Glalie just gets spikes up so easily nowadays.
Yeah.
And like you can taunt, you can freeze dry, you can double edge. Like it's just super nice. Like it's hard to find a matchup where Glalie like doesn't actually put in work. I feel like just with like prepping with it. Okay. Should we move on to
Moving
Gen
on
7?
to Gen 7.
SM.
Absolutely, let's go.
Absolutely. Okay, what is this first team?
Dude,
The
this
Haunter.
This is a decent team. It's a decent team.
It's too
if
bad-
you
it's too
ignore
bad
the
Haunter
fact
isn't
that there are only
grounded.
6 viable mons. There are only 6 viable mons on this team.
I mean, at least they're viable. That's the thing. It's better than some of the
Well,
other
yeah,
teams.
actually, the top's actually like really nice. Mew, Diancie, Volk, Rotom, Mandy, Steelix.
I won't. I
Pretty
can't even
decent
cap.
synergy with
The
each other,
first
too.
first six are absolutely drip.
Yeah.
I kind of want to make a jab at no grounded poison, but I don't feel like this team is that pressed against it because you have Diancie, Magic Bones, and like two of the most reliable defoggers. So I don't think that it's that big of an issue. So they dodged the bullet this
once.
time. I think that Haunter is really drip for 3 points. Like it's a decent like cheap option that
Yeah.
can like sometimes see usage. Rarely, but if you have like that one matchup where your opponent I guess just doesn't have a ghost resist, you could probably bring it.
Yeah, or like absolute dog shit speed tiers. Because this is like what, 95?
Yeah, it hits 317. 95, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
I mean
maybe
it's
in
not terrible. Yeah, I feel like this team's like pretty good, but it's gonna be pretty predictable because I feel like every mon is kind of like, it's kind of telegraphed like what they're gonna do. Does that make sense?
Yeah, everything except the Mew, pretty much.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious. Like
And
Steelix
I
is
guess
gonna
the
rock.
Reversion, if you think Reversion is viable.
It's pretty obvious that it's
it-
gonna be Steelix rocks like defog Mandibuzz or like defog / taunt Mandibuzz or like defog Rotom Wash, like some kind of Diancie, just like standard coverage and Quiver Dance Folk. Like it's pretty obvious what this team's gonna do. It's just that they're still good enough to like do it even though it's obvious. Like it's still like, it's not like they're not like good mons that can put in work even if they're obvious.
I
If we
concur.
move- Moving on to Sword and Shield 2. This team is absolutely horrible. What is this? Why is there so many fake mons on my screen? Aromatisse.
Okay, this team is pretty bad. Actually,
Team
wait,
is-
no, wait. This is actually kind of still is. This is way too rock weak. Like, what the?
This team is suspect.
Yeah.
Team should never-
Defoggers don't even want to run defog on. Maybe
Yeah.
with the exception of Third.
Yeah, Serp's
Problem-
like a decent fogger, but then it's like you have Hazard Stack too, and it's like, what's really benefiting from Stack on this build?
Yeah, like speed's like whatever, but I don't like how you like take the first 4 mons and then pair them with the last 4 mons. I don't feel like that makes any sense with this build. Actually, because I don't think that the last 4 are necessarily like the most usable mons. I don't really know if they're that good.
Hey, they have a grounded poison though.
Do you have a grounded poison? Crowfish is absolutely for Lord. Odd mon.
As far as grounded poisons go, Coolfish is pretty drippy.
It is pretty fire. And obviously, like Kieran Black and Victini are two of like the premier breakers, like on this, like on in like in any gen.
It's like
But
one
I
of the
just
few Kieran Black teams that actually has another good offensive mod that isn't Kieran Black.
Yeah, that supports it.
Yeah.
And they
I
have
just
they have the other
problem is
Kieran Black.
they're cleaner to capitalize on that is Serp, so I feel like it could have been better.
True.
I mean,
Yeah,
like
Serp has
there's-
pretty limited.
in terms of like typing, like I don't see anything like inherently wrong with like the mons themselves. It's just that when you actually put them together, like I don't see how these mons like actually like are supposed to work together. Like they kind of defeat the purpose of like they kind of defeat the purpose of each other in a sense. If that makes sense. I don't know if that's necessarily true, but I feel like they don't really like work on the same archetype. So it's kind of
No.
a team that's stuck in the water, I feel like.
Looking at
I
the
don't-
next one. Wait,
Yeah.
do we have any more comments?
I don't think so.
Let's go let's go to the next one. It has a Togetic.
Talking about this
As a
one before.
Togetic, oh my god, Hiker, this might be the best team of all time. Might be.
There's
Togetic
also a
is
Mega
so good.
Sceptile, so
With the
don't
double barrel
fall
with
for
the
Uh,
Togetic.
For- has double wish though, Hiker. Double wish.
Oh, double wish, double
Double
balance.
balance. Oh my lord. Double balance with Pex.
Fuck
So
Pex.
fire.
Frog Pex.
What? Bug packs. I disagree.
Bro, Hiker's a Pex hater.
I don't
Um,
understand how you can be.
To be honest, I'm not quite sure because you go from Sceptile Mega to Kyurem Black in terms of speed, and you're never bringing Sceptile Mega because Sceptile Mega is horrible.
It's
in
unviable.
8mon, it's actually viable in 8mon, in my opinion.
Are you sure?
Okay, well, unfortunately, I
sure?
think your opinion is
Yes.
wrong. Your opinion is wrong,
Yes.
Mr. Hackertoad.
Bruh, tell me what you have for SD.
Tell me for SD, if this was regular Sceptile with
Some
Burden,
teams are
okay.
like kind of weak to it though, or there's like just like a cleaner set special.
okay, we'll say that Sceptile Mega is like somewhat usable. That's what we'll make a compromise. But
Yes.
but like, what is the rest of the team, bruh?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question.
It's just not good. Like good mons, but like once again, like this is such a like I don't actually know like how this team is supposed to work together again. Like these are all like Kyurem Black semi-stall teams, like
I mean,
fat
hey,
balance
you have to bring Spadef Rachi every game, so it works.
Spadef, Rachi,
Semi-stall.
SD Gliscor, T Spikes Pex. Got it.
You gotta
Genius.
run Banded Dogs.
I'm pulling up as OU was just the first 4 mons. And I'll change the last 2 mons to something, and then I'll change Mienshao and Sceptile to like real mons. And then I'll be smashing people on the ladder. That's what I'll do. Yeah,
It's
I
so
don't-
cocky.
It's okay. It's okay, Hiker. We know you can never. I mean, I think that Kingler is like, I guess Kingler is usable.
Pretty drip.
Is like, Togetic is okay, but like, what is by Togetic in Gen 7 is probably not it, to be honest.
Yeah, for 4 points too. It's kind of a lot.
But like as a whole, I guess it's okay. It's not much better than okay, but it is okay.
That's okay.
So,
It's
so that's okay. That's fine.
On to the
Okay,
Oras.
let's move on. Let's move on to Oras. Hacker, what do you think about these?
My favorite.
Ooh.
Or
How many Kyurem Black teams do they need?
Dude, they just didn't want to play
They have
Kyurem
3.
Black.
You just
only the-
needed Kyurem Black. Okay, I don't. This is probably their best Oras team. Actually, no. I can't tell if this is better than the Sand team, but it's definitely better than the second team, which is absolutely horrible.
Damn.
No grounded
Yeah.
poison. Oh
Dude,
my
why
god, this
they have
is
leftover
unviable.
points in every single gen. And it's
No,
not like
they
it's
don't-
one leftover point, it's multiple.
Oh, 4
It's
points left
multiple.
over. That is very powerful. Man, these guys need a calculator. They forgot how to count.
And it's for Zebstrika. They were like, yo, Zebstrika, it's so much better than Mega Manetric. Why would I waste that much money? I'm keeping
I
it.
have a Mega Lopunny, silly.
Exactly, and it's Zebstrika's better.
Oh. What about yeah? Like what about Jolteon? Like come on, like there's
Or-
better ones than
Or
Zebstrika.
Rotom, yeah.
Okay, the first team has no grounded poison, so I automatically dislike it. It has a Zatu for whatever reason. I know that Hiker loves Zatu.
Zatu prevents the
It
T
prevents the
spikes.
T-spike.
It's a clean magic bounce.
Bro,
Clean.
if you bring Zatu, you're losing the game, bruh. I don't care.
I hope they prove you wrong, Saint.
Okay, if they
They-
can
I
prove
hope-
me wrong, I think that Zatu's unviable. It's fine. Smogon players think otherwise.
Hey, the bull, you
So-
gotta prove them wrong.
I played the bull prove me wrong. It's okay. It's okay. Every Smogon player loves Zatu, so it must be good. I like Mega Pidgeot. I like the first like 5 picks. I'm not a fan of Ormatees, but it's probably fine. I just wish that this team had some sort of T-Spikes. Like, and it
I
would
get
be
it.
fine.
You said wish.
Oh my god. I could jump off a cliff.
That was
You
too
can't say
free.
that to our special guest. You get that it's like
Yeah,
but it's a special guest.
I am
You
the
can't.
Oh, I
special
can't. I
guest.
can't respect.
That's
I can't
so
respect.
disrespectful.
I can't respect.
As
clowns
soon
like
as the
Hiker.
recording ends, bash on him all you want, but not for this video, please.
I see. I see. Oh, Hagrid is so good. Oh my lord, he has 4 Gen 8 chips. He must be the goat. He really must
Shut
be.
the hell up.
Oh, he's so
This
good.
is
Okay,
even,
okay.
This is even worse.
Let's move on to OS2. What, Hagrid, what do you think about Talonflame in Gen 6?
It's not that good. Most of the removal sucks and like doesn't really want to run it anyways. But I see he has the Scarm, he has the Tentacruel, he is. Actually, I don't really like what he has a lot, but he has like no breakers. This is kind of weird.
Wait, isn't Scarm Tentacle fine removal though?
Yeah, the removals.
The removal is fine,
here.
but just have nothing to help Lopunny break. Like
Yeah.
Lop is best as like a cleaner.
I feel like we've seen
Like,
that before with
it's nothing
with
to help.
another Orthop team.
Like you rely solely on Hazard Stack with this team. I feel.
I mean, I see what's like Spiritomb is obviously like
Pursuit.
see like yeah, and Spin Block. Like Gardevoir is pretty decent. Flygon's okay. I don't know why you would draft Zebshaka and leave 4 points.
It's the breaker. It's the breaker.
Oh, the
Yeah.
breaker is
I
coming.
told you,
They
I
wanted a grass
told
immunity.
you.
Needed it. They needed a grass immunity because they're just that weak with Talonflame
Yeah.
and Skarmory.
They
They're
needed it.
just terrified of grass types. You see a Serperior that's
literally-
dogs on this. Oh my lord.
They need guard to break things. I think that's what they need.
It's a yikes.
Like, well, if guard's offensive, then what are they doing to dragon types? Skarm
Well,
does
there's
like
a Skarm.
special ones. I mean,
Like what? The Lotties you can trap with the tomb. Kieran, I mean Kieran Black 6-0s, but Kieran Black 6-0s every team.
X fact. Okay, well,
That's
I
fair
guess,
assessment.
this team. I guess the only thing then is that this team doesn't really gel together the way like a Lopunny team probably should, and that you should probably use the 4 points. Like, what's the point of leaving the 4 points on the table? Are you gonna donate the 4 points to the children who are in need?
The
what are you
children
doing?
need these
To
points.
coronavirus relief.
I did not
Dude,
need the
it's like-
4 points. I
It's
will
like when
give
you're
it to
throwing
you
away
instead.
food. This is like throwing away food with the extra points. You're just throwing it away.
What, man? If you want other people to take advantage, like, far away. Okay. Let's move on to OS3,
It's
which is, in my opinion, by far their best OS team.
it's pretty fuego.
It's pretty fuego. It has Mega Pinsir.
Yeah.
The best Megas in this gen, I think.
Yeah,
The
for
it
sure.
has-
best, he says.
One of
Yeah.
the best.
One of the
One of the
best.
best. It has Sand. It has Gren. It has Lottie. So it's basically your every other Sand team that would take shape in ORS. So, I mean, it is pretty good. Like, it's a good team. I don't really have anything like particular that's like
Most of the problems that a lot of other teams have, they have covered. Like, they have a fire resist, and they have a grounded poison. That's a dub in itself.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is there much else that needs to be said? And this is a pretty good team.
Yeah.
Well, in case you didn't know, this is a sand team.
Thank you.
astute observation, Mr.
What
Akato.
gives that away, you think?
I had to
think it's
look.
the
I had
It
to
Lanyard.
look
it's
into it.
2020, so drill doesn't mean sand anymore. You keep that in mind.
That's right. That's right. You draft Sam
Uh,
Bulu in 2020. Genius.
oh Jesus.
Genius. Okay.
Yeah.
Draft
After
Sambulu without the setter.
looking over these teams, I can conclude this team. These teams are good, so they're not. There's like two good teams on the entire thing. I can conclude that this team needs a calculator, and they need to be ashamed of themselves for leaving so much food on the table. They
Food
are
on the
wasting
table,
so
that's
many
right.
points. Donate the points to those in need. Don't just
Santa Claus
hold
is
them.
not.
Don't just let them dry out for no reason.
Uh,
Save the children. Okay.
There's a
Apart-
global pandemic going on.
Apart from, yes. Apart from that, like the teams are, they're not like the worst that we've seen. Really good either. So
so basically, what he's trying to say is that only 1/3. That's the number. 1/3 of the teams are viable.
it's not even 1/3 Hucker. It's like 3 out of 10. It's like 30%.
30% viable.
So
Well,
so about 1/3.
Oh,
That's
Hucker Toad.
under
That is not
1/3.
about 1/3. That is not close
1/3.
enough.
That's
is not close
33%.
enough.
30%.
hiker
That is
math.
not close enough.
There's a
That is
3%
not close
difference.
enough.
It's a 3%
close enough.
difference.
3% matters.
Relax.
It matters, Hiker. It matters. Okay. Let's
Hey,
move
we
on.
go into the
Can we go to
powerful
the Can we go
team.
to the next team?
Alright, we got on
Yes.
the next marker.
Oh.
This seems
Going
my
to what I like to call the lucky libtards with Mr. Sink.
Oh,
What?
yes.
AK the team that I've drafted half of these for.
Aw, Hiker, you didn't do shit. Let's be real with yourself.
This man Sane was begging me every single draft. He was like, "Bro, does this look good? Bro,
Oh.
tell me what I should do."
Well, Hacker, I'm gonna tell you right now some facts. You and me spent more time talking about the teams than I did with the actual teammates, because none of these.
Okay,
these-
Saint,
any
enough with the
feedbacks.
negativity. Go down
Oh my
the list of every single player and tell me what you love
Alright,
about
alright.
every single one of them.
Oh,
What the frog?
Okay. Mr. Fish, Mr. Fish, I love the fact that you have 88 messages total on our team server. You have been
I don't-
great
I don't know if this is
contribution.
positive, guys.
this
You
seems
have
like
been a
sar-
great
this
contribution
seems
to our
like
team.
sarcasm.
And then Mr. Canadian Kid, actually, like I feel like I feel a little bit worse because you were on a trip. But after you got back from the trip, you were kind of useless, except for one time where we called and we made like one plan for one draft. So you dodged a bullet. Unfortunately, you only have 200 messages less. So you do not escape the flaming. The same guy seems pretty cool. He built all 10 teams. At least he tried to build all 10 teams until somebody took an X-Plot and a Clefairy.
You needed assistance with the ores. Hiker Toad was not available.
Actually, Hiker looked over like my changes for them, but yes, unfortunately, Xplot and Clefairy are they're not considered very good, and Xcloud does not
Xcloud is
does not-
broken. It is a breaker. Terrakion plus
breaker.
Xcloud.
It's not as passive as Turexam.
Yeah, Terexam is kind of passive. We need an Xplot on this team.
Yeah, Xcloud really makes that pop. It's
Okay.
really brings it there.
Okay, so moving past myself, I'm only playing in playoffs, unfortunately. So if these guys suck, that's on them.
So you might not be
Uh,
playing then.
I might not be playing. It's looking kind of grim, considering our message count.
I don't know,
Snomby,
bro.
I know I like when these guys like when the captains were DMing me. Basically, they were like, "We're big on Snomby," but the dude has been like absolutely useless. Like all he has done is like suggest like monsters that shouldn't exist on the planet.
Say
and,
your
like-
team is gonna watch this. You know that, right?
Man, I don't care if they watch this. They can hear my frustrations. And then like apparently he got drafted to lock people. So basically, Hiker, this one's you.
What?
Because Hiker, just like you, he plays in like 54 leagues at a time, and then like apparently like 90% of his wins come from hacks. So he's basically you, but like less known. Okay, so moving on. We have
His name
Scoot.
also isn't as cool.
Name isn't as cool as Hiker Toad, I agree. We have Scooge, who's like I've heard that he's like great in Oras. And then he's definitely been like super helpful in our squad.
He's
I don't
gonna-
know like that much about his playing ability like himself. Like But like he did say that he did say that Alakazam and Terrakion was passive, so I don't know if I can trust his opinions after today. Um, but yeah, he's supposed to be an OS specialist, and like he's like 6-0 in like WPF. So take that as you will, because it's WPF. Cheez-Its, I mean, he just got into Hive. Like he's a good guy, but he's not completely horrible. And I think he's like the third or fourth most expensive person on this team. And he's expected to like win most of his games. Street Crack Cookie, is okay. He's the one that suggested the xCloud Clefairy. So,
Oh boy.
so that's how you know this plus.
Sounds.
Oh boy.
Hey, as long as he can play, just keep him away from the drafts.
Yes, yes. Mighty Savage is a top 5 builder in the format. He came up with stockpile. He came up with the stockpile using that's the absolute guy score counter. It's a 1v1
Oh.
any day of the week. Genius.
It's pretty good.
But like he's like an okay player, but just like one of the worst builders I think I've ever seen. So hopefully his play will outmatch his skill. Stumbles 23 is supposed to be Jesus, but he has like 16 messages in our team server.
It's a lot.
That is a
Jesus,
lot.
you say.
Well, he's supposed to be quite good. Like they got into a bidding
Have
war
you
for
know on
Stumbles.
Have you know on the East Coast it is Sunday. You cannot use the Lord's name in vain.
He is
Hiker, do you have a game?
cash money.
So how's like Hiker's playing 5 games tomorrow?
Well, actually, no. I only have one game tomorrow.
Okay. Is it the one against Ace?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Well, regardless, Stumbles. I feel like Stumbles is like fairly decent as a player, especially because UCA's player pool is horrible. So he's probably fine. I don't
Yeah.
know anything about Karma. I only know Memslot from like a tour like a year ago. That the Almighty Goons or like the Almighty Goons now hosted. Like he made finals or something. So supposedly he's decent. Don't know much about him otherwise.
And you got OLT goons, so
Huh? I didn't suggest any of them except for I didn't suggest any
yeah.
of these
But I'm
guys.
just saying in general, you have OLT goons.
Yeah, we have like a few OLT people in here for sure.
Savage, Stumbles, Cheez-Its, I think it's Fierce. That's it.
No, most of the captains are there.
I didn't know Canadian Kid was there.
Canadian, he hasn't played yet, but he's like done the elimination lock and shit. Like, there's like a few OT players that like I know of, but if they do not perform, I will take that into consideration if they apply for season 10.
Oh,
I will
jeez.
use
Oh,
it.
no.
I will so. Okay,
My
let's
man
move on.
is
Let's move
not
on to the
messing
teams.
around.
Move on to the
Yeah, we
teams.
spent like 20 minutes talking about the players.
No, we didn't. We just.
To be fair,
I
me
should,
and Cole
I should,
kind of went into
I should,
detail
I
about
should
our
mention
players
that.
too.
I should mention that I have 1,100 messages, and that's more than 7 or 8 of these players combined. So that tells you something about the amount of support I got when I was building these teams.
Okay.
Unfortunately,
Sounds good.
Luke barely
our
helped me
first
too.
team. It's okay. Our first team we tried to build something around Lazio's Clef. I realized that. Well, I realized after talking to Kekri that Clefable doesn't do like as much as I thought it was gonna do in 8-1. Because on paper it does like everything for you, but in reality, like you don't really want it to run rocks. Like Wish Protect is fine, like Wish Protect is good. Like it's not necessarily the best set for every matchup. So like, and it doesn't like necessarily check like it doesn't necessarily switch into like the elite fighting types, like the Glade, Medi, Lop at all. So like you really need to draft like carefully around it. Lando T and Pex kind of lasted somehow, so we just took both, and then from there we just kind of ran out of ideas on how to fix this, and team is kind of horrible as a result. Because Clef and Lando are forced, like one of the two is forced to run rocks. The team's slow as hell, and it's overall not amazing. I will say though that Quilladin was drafted literally only to spite people that wanted Quilladin, and I think it
That's
worked
fair,
because I think
that's
it's like
fair.
I think I sniped like 3 people, 3 teams, so that's fine.
Quilladin is
Okay.
Why would you do that?
Why would I do that, Mr. Arkato? Because I felt like it.
Didn't think we were sniped.
What you
for this
gonna
one.
do about it, Mr. Toad?
I mean,
Okay.
nothing, because I don't care.
Okay, kid. Keep
Yeah,
talking.
same sniped us with that
Yeah.
Quilladin pick.
Okay, our second team is basically our Suicidal Squad Heracross team, but it's a little bit better.
Ooh.
Because like because we drafted mons that like because we drafted mons basically that kind of covered what the Heracross team was weak to.
How is he gonna say that
yeah.
when there isn't a Togetic?
What you see here, Togetic is less necessary, and when we have discount Togetic, Wallaby. But unfortunately, Togetic did not make it back to us. I think that Togetic is 3 points. Maybe we could have taken Togetic over Volibee. I just felt like Volibee was the better fit.
Yeah, it
it's
was
it's
on.
it's
It
a,
was
it's a
on the
pretty
list.
pretty standard pretty standard Mega Mall team, I would say. It's pretty good. And then our Sword and Shield 3, we also had the Wheel 4. It's basically like it's basically the same Stila Zera Fini team, except it's better than the rest. It's just superior because it has Necrozma, and Necrozma's broken and wins every game.
Mega Chomp is broken.
Mega Chomp is
Facts.
broken. Mega Chomp is absolutely insane. This mon's so dumb.
Yeah, he is.
It is super dumb. And like the budget
Say
picks are
thinks that
decent.
because I beat him like 50 times in mocks with it.
You did not beat me in mocks with Mr. Chomp. You did not. Please stop
Yes, I
lying to
did.
yourself. Stop lying to yourself. Oh, and then last we have a Dragon Ball Sand team that actually is a Sand team and doesn't have points left over. So basically, this is how you draft Sand.
This is like a carbon copy of the overrated Mamoswines team. Why are you ripping them off?
Yeah.
Oh, I am ripping them off.
Except Leafeon is much worse than Bulu, so
Exactly. It's basically I drafted what the overrated Mamoswines had, but unfortunately my mons were just not up to par. I mean, I have a Gigalith where I could have a Gigalith where I could have taken a Swampert. I have a Togetic and a Leafeon instead of Grotto and Magikarp. So I basically just choked. Is what I'm saying. This was a grave mistake. Yeah, that was the idea behind our teams. I would say that they are like somewhat on the basic side. They're all good teams, I think, except for the Sword and Shield one. So yeah.
I think
Hiker. Shout out to Hiker for helping me with these, because my teammates couldn't do it themselves.
Hiker's such a good pal.
Yeah, Hiker is such a good
Yup.
pal, man. This is why in the DGA AMA, Hiker toes are my top 5 favorite people on Discord.
Aww,
Damn.
it's cute.
Unfortunately,
Do I
you
get,
can't.
money for that or
unfortunately-
something? Like, is there a reward?
Unfortunately, Hiker doesn't help me with my own games, so very
What?
pathetic.
Huh? I helped you win a chip.
And I helped you win 4. It doesn't cancel out.
It's not my fault that you don't play as much as I do.
This is why, because I'm not a league core like your trash ass.
I'm literally in
Okay.
2.
You're literally in 2. Oh, okay, retard. Okay. Moving on to Gen 7. I mean, I personally think that the first team is absolutely perfect, and that it doesn't really get much better than that.
Dude, this Coco
this team is really
is
clean,
so
yeah.
nice.
This is the only real Coco team that I've seen so far drafted.
throw is pretty
Fuck.
drip.
Everybody else, which says a lot about everybody else's drafting ability. I think that this is about as good as you can get, like in an Amon pool, considering how many mons lasted where they probably shouldn't have. Like round 6 slow bro. Like
You gotta ground
Round
up poison and fire resist. That's all you really need.
Yeah.
we have Nido King, the goat. Nido King's so powerful. Unfortunately, my teammates suggested actually I told them that we might do like a Halucha team, but I didn't realize like Mega Arrow and stuff would get last. So they built a semi rain Lucha team that unfortunately was rejected because Slowbro's broken. I must have the Slowbro. Yeah. So that's the first team. The second team kind of
Why
sucks.
did you reject their ideas? That sounds pretty toxic.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. Saint's saying they're doing nothing, but in reality,
Yeah,
he's just
he
rejecting
just doesn't
everything
like
that
what
they
they're
do.
doing.
The team had a Politoed and a Ludicolo on it. Why would I drop over it? The team had no need. The team didn't have a Nido King, a Slowbro, a Throw, or a Vullaby. It was like
Do you not have
Politoed.
Politoed on OLT?
I did, and it was a mistake. Politoed's horrible. Rain is horrible.
Oh
Rain
no.
is dog. Rain is boring and it's horrible and never use it. Garbage. The next team was as Taylor calls it is Stall. Because it has Stila, Hex, Sylvia, and
Excuse me?
Mudsdale.
Excuse me.
We called it Stall a
Yeah,
little bit earlier.
Killer was definitely going in earlier in VC.
How
Killer
am I
was
gonna
like,
call
this
this
is
stall?
So unfortunately, we have Stila Latios Mega Aerostall. Um, we're making transactions to this team because I feel like Sylveon's horrible and we shouldn't have ever drafted it. That was me choking.
Yeah.
But it's
It won't,
because right
it
now,
won't be
because
stalled then.
right now it's hard to switch into water types basically because the only water resist is like Pex and Latios, and neither of them really want to get burned. Like Sylveon's not like
So
Sylveon doesn't switch into like
yes, it
Sylveon
does.
doesn't switch into like
Sylveon
some
is
of
a
the
water
water.
resist.
Like saying that the overrated Mamoswine's Kyurem is a water resist. It's the same kind of
It
water
is.
resist.
Huh?
Actually,
No, it's not.
this.
They're both good resists.
Okay, retard.
Sylveon actually does it. Checks pretty much any special one.
Sure, it does check some of the. It does check the special ones, except for like Feeny.
Yeah, Finny is a beast. But yeah,
But it's
Peck's
okay
not
because
that.
Feeny is absolutely broken and it beats pretty much every archetype, anyways. Because Feeny's insane, broken mon. And our third team is just basic Lando
Your
T,
third
Broken Wash,
team,
and
your
Fernet
third
team.
team is sex.
This sucks.
Okay.
What?
But Hiker, how would you?
First,
How
wait, hold on. We have the first appearance of Agent Yuxi.
Agent
Agent
Yuki?
Yuxi.
Agent Yuxi?
Oh, Hiker, since you don't know the reference, I brought Scarf Yuxi to I helped my teammates prep for like another tour, and then I told them to bring Scarf Yuxi for Mega B, and it worked. It killed it instantly. Because
Nice.
Leo
because
played that, wasn't it?
it was Leo, and then it was because Yuxi could also trick like Porygon too, like Togekiss and stuff, and like it would actually and well actually I don't think it was Togekiss. It was like a really fat team. Like there was definitely like a Porygon 2 somewhere. But yeah, like we bought a Scarf UC and we won that game because we killed the B with Scarf side
It was
shot.
such a fun game to watch.
That was the start. That was the start of a legend. So yeah, we took Yuxi. We also sniped the Sand team from Yuxi, which completely fucked their draft because now their team sucks. We also sniped the Mega Steelix from Sub to Parksy, which completely ruined their draft because now they have a Mega Camo and like what else do they have on that team? A Mega Camo and a Togedemaru now. So that's
Oh,
so that's
boy.
Reaper Dame.
Oh yes, a toga.
The Toga tomorrow, I don't know. I don't remember what the rest of their team is, but they now might have double balance.
Oh, they have a clef. This is double balance.
This is such a
Right.
powerful double balance team, dude.
Back to the
Yeah,
back
the
to
lack
Yuki
of
now.
a steel type is a bit hurtful, but it's okay.
Okay. Wait, which one are we talking about? The ORAS team?
No, the stupid sub the Parksy team.
We're on the
Oh,
we're back to the
He's-
lucky libtards, Mr. Hakuto.
Come back to us.
Okay. For ORAS,
Welcome back, Wolfpack.
ORAS, I'll just say that the ORAS teams are
The
kind
first one
of
is.
terrible. First one is absolutely beyond using, and you should never draft anything like this in any tournament ever, because this is about as bad as it gets. The fairy resist is Nidoqueen. There's no steel type, so every Pixelmon
I
tears us
think
apart.
the psychic resist being
the psychic
Zam.
resist, yeah, the psychic resist is Mega Zam, so that doesn't sound too good either.
Yeah, and you have like a bunch of things that are weak to like psychics too, like Tarek and Nu.
And there's that random exploit on Clefairy because like we got sniped for Steelix and we couldn't do anything else. So this team is what I call Mamamos, which means we suck. And that's exactly what the first team is. It sucks. The second team's I guess it's okay. I don't really know how I feel about this one, Hiker. Like, what do you think about the second team?
I can appreciate the Mega.
I don't speak Oras.
The alt is kind of clean. IMO.
I think that the team is like fine. Like there's nothing like is particularly like out of the like ordinarily like bad to deal with. I feel like because like I feel like Mew and Mega Out like kind of blanket check like a lot of stuff that this team is otherwise weak to.
Yeah.
I don't love the Miraculous, but that's because we got sniped.
Pull it in.
We didn't have a ground type. Yeah, we wanted Quilladin, but like there wasn't anything better at the time. Like
I think
Like-
either way, it doesn't matter because you already have Quillfish.
and then Quillfish is God, so it's fine. It was
Fish
more
is
for like
bad.
it was more for like another ground resist because like otherwise this team is kind of stomped by ground types, to be honest.
Yeah,
Like,
that's kind of true.
But like I don't know if I can do any. I don't know if I could do anything about that, to be honest. I feel like because I feel like the mons I was looking at towards the end got sniped. Like like the thing is that I said like because what happened was that like after Thunderous Eye, I was kind of asked like, okay, what do we do here? We're kind of weak to rocks, so we're kind yeah, so we kind of need removal because
Yeah.
Mega L doesn't have default this gen something. So I just kind of said Dolphin and just kind of took it, and then so I had to plan from after that. But like I think it's okay. It's not the worst.
The only,
My favorite is definitely OS3 though.
No.
OS3 is definitely the best one.
the only thing that might be annoying is like ghost types that block spin, and then you'd be forced to like run like Mew
It's
default.
okay. It's okay. We file Fox all ghost types.
But
It's
yeah.
so good. Oh my lord. Wow,
I thought
it's
it was
insane.
pretty
You say
powerful,
you
especially
do you
in
really
Aura.
do you really think this is the better team?
Not necessarily, but it looks more
I don't
fun.
know.
So
I
looks
don't think
more
it looks
fun,
more
so-
fun either, bruh.
It's more fun. It's more fun.
mo-
You're just a hater.
it's definitely more. It's definitely more fun. It's
Mega
Glalie.
Mega Altaria is more fun.
Mega Altaria is doo. Mega Glalie is drip. Please, hackers, stop
Oh.
getting this mixed up.
Please step down.
Um, yeah, I don't know how I feel about the ORS teams, but they're okay. They're not great.
Yeah,
They're
guys, it's fine. And even if those don't work, mids. So if you're around at mids, that is.
He might not be here.
Damn,
Yeah,
he's
it's
in a
like
different
Kirk
team.
DM me fruity shit.
I don't know. Did I ignore him for too long?
Perhaps. Okay. Well, anyways, moving on to the next team. What is the next team?
It's the Stone Cold Stunners.
It's
Somebody else talk about their roster.
You know, what, Mr. Hiker, let's hear your analysis on this roster.
On who? Wait,
On the
oh wait,
Stone
I
Cold
was
Stunners.
SCS,
I was
SCS.
looking at DMs. Am I talking about like the people on this team?
Yeah,
or,
yeah,
Yes,
like,
you are.
what are
We're
we?
talking about the people.
Started the captains.
Oh, Big Daddy Dave. Yes.
Okay, we might not want to do this. Hackers
This is
Hackers having
goat.
traumatic throwbacks. Hackers starting to get nightmares in his head. He's starting to see some ghosts of his past. I don't feel like we should talk. I
Yo,
don't feel like we should
part of this. Yo, wait, no. I need to go over this. There's some powerful key components of this team.
Okay.
You have so you have, like I said, Dave. He's the GOAT. He consistently beats me, so therefore he must be. Saint really likes the Kyle dude. He's in one of the OLT divisions, and he
He's
has an
in
anime
Unity.
profile pic. I think
Kyle's
he's also
like-
best friends with ReggieTube, I think. So he's good.
Kyle's a nice guy. He's not the best
Yeah.
player, but like he's a nice guy.
He's a little bit dead though for a
Yes.
captain, I will say.
Oh.
He can step
Okay.
up for this.
So then we have Pesky the GOAT. Oh my goodness, sniper of John's Manphy and LD. He'll probably do fine, I think. And then Clutch Life right after. Clutch Life, he's dropping a
30K.
singular game max, and it'll be because of hacks. He never loses
Wait,
legit.
yeah.
But what if
He's
we
doing,
what if we told you
I
he's
don't think
not building
building
his team?
anything.
Who? What do you mean?
Not building his own teams.
Me and Clone
Oh.
considered picking him up with Hollow and Brett, but I think he told Clone that one, he might not be able to play every week, and then number two, that he would need all of his teams built.
Wait.
Then we updated him. We updated him for them. We
who-
updated him for them to get him Word Life for 30K.
But like, who
Oh.
on this team's building for him, bro? Where's the build support at? You can't tell me it's.
They have
I
the
don't
great
know.
Rizu at number 9.
And that guy's the GOAT. That guy.
No.
is so far.
Dude, no.
That
The
guy's so far.
why you so hooked up on Rizzo when there's John the Bagel?
I don't
A
think that's how you say it.
Bagel John builds.
Man,
Yo,
isn't
the
that guy's like,
Bagel, bro.
according to his WPF friends, that guy is like, I like that guy because he plays Tetris, but apparently he has like 81 losses in Gen 8 so far, already.
81.
So
That's a lot of
Yeah,
losses.
so do I.
Apparently he has,
I have that many too.
apparently he's like 20 and 81 Gen 8 so far. So that seems like a sign off for
20
Demo.
and 81. I guess
Wait.
so.
It's pretty powerful.
Going Hiker to we still.
Oh,
need
you know what?
another-
You know who's voting for this team?
Who am I?
Flips the goats.
Flips. Dude, I'm surprised.
Flips.
Is he still around? He was around ages ago, like years.
2
He
years ago.
clearly is if he got drafted.
I just realized that the profile pic. I just realized that this team's logo is Dave's face.
It's not even a logo. It's just Dave's face.
Oh,
Like,
that's fire.
like, don't get me
Oh,
wrong.
I
Dave's face is
really-
beautiful, but that's not a logo. That's just
Yes,
a
it
picture of
is.
Dave.
Yeah, it's not a real
That's-
logo.
That's,
It's not a picture.
that's
It's
like
Dave's
saying
face.
that's like saying that's like saying Sidul can't be the logo for Suicidules.
Suicidal Squad. Oh my lord. Stop that.
This team would have to be named like the Stone Cold Daves.
Yeah.
It's true.
That's kind of cool.
Okay, Hacker. You never continued after Word Life. What do you think about my good pal Wheel the RMG Lord?
He's like addicted to Melmetal, Tapu Bulu, and Mega Camerupt, but
Funny you say that because they
He's-
have a Memento team. Oh.
he's a bit addicted to that Pokemon, but I'm sure that in conjunction with Sacred Wings, he'll be a force in this story. Why are we laughing?
Man, Hacker's out here dropping this disrespect. Is insane.
What do you mean this disrespect?
Man, Hacker, you can't do my boy Sacred like that. He did some really powerful.
Sacred even bad. We played twice. There were 2 close games. He got lucky in both of them and made him closer. But he is not. I have
The
deemed.
disrespect.
No.
No. He's not. I have deemed that he's not on the unviable list. So that's all that
Man,
matters.
Hacker's so disrespectful to 12-year-old children.
I
If it
love
makes
the
it- if it makes
12-year-old
Sacred any-
children.
If it makes Sacred
What?
feel any better, Hiker Toad is into underage boys, as we found out yet last night.
Okay, his dad still comes to check in, tuck in for good night. So it's okay. Buddy, it's not for bed.
Say you're so fucking
Right,
weird.
buddy.
Night, buddy.
Anyways, we're getting
Why,
a little bit
why are you guys making? Why are you guys still
We
making
we
shit
got
up?
2 more teams left. Let's go. We got
Uh,
this. Home stretch.
Okay, mid Pokemaster is like, I mean, I beat him in a game with I beat him in a finals game with this Curse, Agility, Roost, Drill Peck, Zapdos, so I therefore conclude him unviable. He must not be very good if he loses to that kind of Zapdos set. X Ampha, I have no clue who this is.
We draft. He's on my TDT team, and he's just
Oh,
dead.
Yo, he played Jake in Quarantine Draft Tour. Wash. So basically, this guy's the GOAT.
Okay, so he beat what's his face, Jake. So he must be Jesus.
Yes.
Flips is like, this is like a 2018 person, like like late 2017 person.
The CMTR game. Everyone.
Yeah, like this is the one where they got like, this is the one that got like reverse swept, right? Like did they reverse swept? That's like that's on the top 5 most hilarious games of all time list. John the Bagel, like I said, like I've heard that he has like the most horrible Gen 8 record. I'm sure he's not as bad as 20 and 81, but supposedly
Probably
like, he's not that
130
great of a
30.
player. And the last time I saw Rizzo play, we didn't see that. So okay, let's just pretend that I've never seen Rizzo play because some of the games are kind of sus. But kind of sus. I
Damn,
mean,
you were going off on me for earlier. Now you're going off at Riz.
okay,
What
We
do you
need
need
to
to
go
do
up
to
on
deserve
these
this?
teams real quick. Is what we need to do.
what we do. Okay, first of all, the first team is unviable because it has a Galarian Dharm in it. And like all Galarian Dharm teams, it is unviable.
I
That's
don't
terrible.
know, bro. This team
Fire
also has
resist
the
is there, but the
Torterra.
grounded poison is
The
not.
Torterra.
Yeah, the ground type is Torterra. That's Jesus. That's a genius strat. You know what? It's pretty
This
fire.
team's actually like really weak to electric. I feel like you actually have to bring Torterra most games.
That's flames. What do you bring Torterra
Like-
over? Is the
Like
question.
legit, dude. There's no electric resist or answer outside of Torterra.
Man, Torterra is the goat. Did you not see my good pal Robert Panda use Torterra in COK? Torterra is so fire. That mon
No.
is powerful. It's super
No.
powerful. Okay,
I don't
well,
think so.
hacker's wrong, so it's fine. Yeah, I feel like the problem with all of these Galarian Dharm teams, not Slowbro, it's just that it's hard for them to like hard for you to build with Galarian Darm because I feel like you need to like check off a lot of boxes, and even if you check off the boxes, like Galarian Darm isn't like necessarily good because you need a lot of
Yeah.
support around it, and even if you have like all the necessary support, like it doesn't ensure that the mon's going to go off. So I don't really like that. I do know that Hiker you're really high on Mega Diancie though. Uh,
Yeah,
Nice
Mega
little-
Diancie is really good, especially in 8-mon. You're practically like, if you play it right versus most teams, you can probably like get a kill when you get it in, or just like get
you're
a lot of
basically
damage off.
guaranteed kills because I feel like Diancie has ways of like beating all of its checks down. I mean, it was not that long ago where Hiker's Solax took a tragic demise to a Mega Diancie.
Yeah.
Corviknight, I've concluded after careful examination that Corviknight only beats retards, but this is UCA, and you see extra Joe Voodoo teams.
This is not
So-
OLT Melody.
So
Yeah,
So-
if they
so
don't win their
basically,
electric,
Corviknight-
then they're probably in a rough spot.
yes, yeah. So unfortunately, this
Is that
team
why?
this
Is that why Corviknight was almost the MVP in OLT Melody?
is exactly that because people don't know how to prep for it apparently. Galarian Dome, I already mentioned my thoughts on this. I think Slowbro's fire, especially for this cheap. Like 13 points is definitely a steal. I feel like.
Poor Slowbro is pretty good. That's probably like the latest Slowbro we've seen, considering most go
Yeah,
like
that's
1,
one.
2,
That's
3.
one of the late. I mean, okay, this is the same pool we took Pex really late in. It's like the waters went very late. I think they actually wanted Pex, and we sniped it from them actually, because they got quite a few FUs afterwards in chat. So
Aw.
that's very unfortunate. Incineroar's okay, Noivern's okay, Girder's okay. It's just that this team's like super weak to electrics. That's the problem.
Hmm.
Okay. Moving on to the second team. It looks like a Gen 7 team, but worse. Version of a Gen 7 Lando Glade.
Yeah, it does look very Gen 7-esque. Like, you got the Lando T Glade, Feeny, Townsend with like a budget pick for a fire, I guess. Do some speed, but
I think that Talonflame's very, very nice. I do think that it gives like the necessary utility.
I
It-
like
it's-
this team.
I like this team too as well. I just think that like it's like the concept of this team is just like it's been seen like a lot of times before, but it's always like fundamentally solid. So there's not a lot to dislike about this team. And like this thing is that like Weavile is like a lot worse than like Gen 7 Weavile.
Yeah.
Like apart from
It's
that,
still
like,
very good though. Like it's just that you
It's still
can't really spam pursuit because it's not a thing.
it's just like it's obviously like worse without pursuit, but like it does still have all the tools it needs to like break through a lot of teams. Just because Knock and Icicle Crash are so hard to switch into. Like and it has boots now, so it doesn't just die to rocks as well if you really want it. So
Mhm.
and then like I think that Feeney's great. I think that Talon's like decent. I think that Lando T and Glade is like yes, I feel like this team is just like pretty solid. Like there's not much to dislike about this team.
Round 2 Mega Galade is a crime.
It was on the wheel.
Crime.
So it's still a crime. Okay. Moving on to Sword and Shield 3.
This team
it-
fucking sucks.
Yeah, this team is so weird. What is this?
The
Oh,
the fairy
well,
resistance
Frog-
cinders.
it Froggen sucks.
Oh, it sucks. There's no poison resist on the entire team.
No, there's a Marsh Chomp.
Second
I see
Sword
that.
Shield team without a grounded poison.
No grounded
Marsh
poison.
Stomp.
I
Good
mean,
one.
okay, realistically, that's not a big issue on this team. Legit, the top 4 Mons don't really care unless you're not Boots and any of them.
That's not the most horrible thing. But like this team's weak to a lot of things. The ground type is Marsh Chomp, so this team also gets dogged on by most electrics.
And
All
rock types.
electrics.
Oh, like a mega arrow versus this. Ooh.
Like, this is what I call Mamamos. It is a very terrible. It's a very terrible team. But
The thing is, too, like most of these Mons are like actually like they're the good Mons. They just like you kind of miss.
They don't
missing
mesh
an
well enough
important
together.
piece.
I
Yeah,
feel
well,
like after-
yeah,
I feel like
they
kind of ran
mesh
out of ideas.
well
Ever
together.
since
You just
Cinderace
need
makes
something
sense and
else.
You're good. It's just after Cinderace that the team completely falls apart. Like I don't even think that Rillaboom's bad. I just don't think that he had the points to afford Rillaboom and then
I don't
like
think you even really needed Rillaboom on this team. Like, you don't
I
really
don't.
need a bulky grass.
You don't really need that. You could have taken like Cooladin instead and taken like a good ground type, and I think this would be a lot better.
Yeah, I
If
agree.
there's like a Nido available, like I was, or even like Pylo Swine, for example, like would be such a good mon on this team. Like,
Oh,
yeah,
is
Yeah,
pretty cat.
it looks like a pretty easy fix as well if you get that and maybe like some sort of steal because the fairy resist being Cinders still bothers me.
I don't think it just bothers you. I think it bothers everyone. Like, what is this team? What is this team doing to Scarf Tapu Fini? Like, what is Fini? Like, what is the Fini check? AV Boom.
AV Tornadus Therian form.
Okay,
It's are
if
overrated.
you're running AV Tornty over Boots Tornty, I don't even want to talk to you.
It's are overrated.
That's true. Boots are overrated. I don't actually know if I agree with that statement, but it's a statement. So
It's are
yeah,
overrated.
this team
Your Saints.
this team needs a lot of fixing. So they must address it. And meanwhile, Hykertoad's bedtime is up, so he's gone on mute again.
Oh no.
Okay. Next
He's
up,
anticipating another good night, buddy.
is Melmetal, Clef, Suicune, Zygarde, Mega Bee, Miltank, Volibee, Electabuzz team. And the thing is that like this team doesn't one of those teams that is like deceptive because it looks good on paper, but in reality, I don't think it'll actually be that good because Melmetal is it is kind of horrible.
I feel like
Miltank and Clef.
the
It's just a
hazard
problem.
removal is just Volibee.
Yeah, your defogger is Beedrill
Yeah,
because
and Beedrill, I
Volabee's not
guess.
coming to every game. And then like
Which I don't know
there's
if you ever
something-
want to click defog with Beedrill.
you also go Mega B to Zygarde because Miltank's never running speed
Yeah, the
unless you run like
speeds.
a retard Scarf Miltank said, which is which I will call you retarded for.
Electabuzz is 105, but
This team's just not that good. I mean, like Momento, like I know that people like really like Momento, especially if they're like in like smaller leagues. I know that smaller leagues like especially jerk off Momento like and still
think-
consider like a top 5 on. Like it's just not. It's just like an underwhelming steal.
I feel like if you want to abuse my metal, you want more like momentum than this team has. Even though
Or
it,
if
even
you
though it
want-
has the
if you want
Mega
the
Beedrill, it's like
One of the Momento, draft a Trapper, and then suddenly your
Yeah.
Momento will be opened up to do a lot more. But the
Dougie
problem
or
is that this team
Goth.
like I don't see a reason why you don't run Rocky Helmet in this team and just rape all the physical attackers except for Zygarde. Like if I run that Rocky Helmet, I get Melmetal, I get Mega B, and like and
Double
then after
value.
that, like what kind of physical offense is there? Like Zygarde isn't a real breaker. A
Yeah.
really
it's
great.
not.
Especially it
Mon.
kind of struggles
It has to
breaking
be
too.
like banded, no?
Yeah, Zygarde. In order to Zygarde to break, it needs band. If not, you need to run like a support Zygarde basically with like Koyo, Dragon Dance, DD, like any. Well, actually, Dragon Dance is DD. I don't know why I said that twice. But like Subtoxic and like stuff like that. Like you need something along those lines with Zygarde. I just don't think that this team is like very well constructed because of this. It's not just because I don't think like Melmeto's that good. It's just that like I mean Melmeto's like a steel that doesn't offer like the traditional defenses that steals give. So like that could be definitely a problem because like since Melmetal is like so like susceptible to like something like a Diancie, like Diancie for example just tears this team up, like
Yeah, it
particular and like
you need like what like AV Melmetal into like Wish Clef with Wish Teleport Clef.
yeah, and then you also need to like if you play like a Mega Pidgeot or like a Torn T, like your Melmetal is not reliably your Melmetal isn't going to be able to do much because it just hurricanes, it U-turns out, and eventually your Melmetal is going to be chipped to the point where it can't really, do what it needs to do, defensively. So it's really like depends on how you can reliably use the Melmetal, I would say, but like as a whole, like this team it's not that great in my opinion.
Anyways, we need to pace ourselves for this last team because the party hasn't even started yet.
Oh,
So
I
we should probably-
apologize. I apologize. The last
Oh,
team.
you're fine. You're
The last
fine. You're
team
fine.
needs to. The last team needs.
I hope
or
Hiker told on mute in time.
Okay, so we're gonna move on to Gen 7 now.
Yeah.
The first team, I feel like makes a lot of sense. It is quite a good Gen 7 team. The first 5 months in particular, absolutely horrendous to deal against. I feel like I feel like it's very well constructed, especially. The speed tiers, I mean, I think they're okay because Noivern exists, and I do think that Noivern's a good pick on this. I wouldn't necessarily do it as the Zmon over Rosenpede. I feel like Rosenpede's a really solid Zmon, whereas Noivern is kind of weak even with Z coverage. I don't really see
You
what
can like
you
yeah, you can like mix stuff up with Roam. 'Cause, like
Yeah, because you can like, because the thing is that like
it's
Z
much more of a
overheat
mod than
is so
Noivern in
hard
I
this
to
am
game.
fix.
back.
I'll come back. Because like I feel like
And roll
Rosenpede
with a
does have like
tactical.
some moves. Oh, Hiker, you just missed out by the way, because I was just roasting the Melmato team.
Oh, that's
Right.
that's good. You probably roasted it enough for me then.
I talked about it quite a bit. Don't worry. But yeah, I feel like not seeing Wilton P is a mistake. I don't think that Z Norvern's very good at all. I don't really see what you would need the Z for, to be honest. And
Z
yeah,
Draco, I suppose.
the first 5 ones I really do like. Licky Licky as well, I think is good. I mean, this team is the most esteemed double balance there is, so it must be super good.
Double
The only rocker is
balance.
Mammoslide.
Is not ideal. Yeah.
Only rocker Mammoslide is kind of suspect, but like that's whatever. I don't know. I think that like I don't really
It's
know
a
if I like.
fine rocker,
Doesn't
right?
like
Like
make sense because otherwise this team is really weak to ghost types. But I feel like
It's
every
like
team is weak to ghost types.
sometimes you just don't want to run rocks on it, but
Like if you want to run Scarf Mammal, you don't necessarily want to run Rocks, for example. So it's whatever. Like it's not bad. It's just not like amazing. I feel like if there was like a secondary rocker on this team, like, I think this team would be like very solid. Like switch Norburn to like a different, like switch Rose Norburn Z to like Rosenpede Z. I feel like that would be good. Like that's up to whoever uses it. Hacker, any other comments on this team?
looks like a Dougal team.
It does look like a dude. I was about to say that this looks like Dougal's team that he's using in LD right now, except there's no
Yeah, it
Hydreigon.
does.
Okay. Okay, apart from that, let's move on to the second Gen 7 team.
Mega Heracross.
Every time I see Mega
Ooh.
Heracross, I instantly like it, so. But then I see Raikou, and I don't like it anymore.
What the fuck? What the frog?
What the frog?
Yeah, not gonna lie,
okay.
this team is kind of
Seems
ugly
kind of.
looking.
This team is kind of bad. Like the only steel being Heatran is never ideal, and your only ground is Zygarde, which isn't ideal either. Like, what are you doing?
Huh? What's wrong with that?
Oh my god.
Um,
Like, Hacker, just because
Explain
you're
it for
used
the
to
viewers at home.
Okay, so when you run Zygarde, it's not a good electric check because in Gen 7 there is this move called Hidden Power.
oh,
It allows you to run Hidden Power Ice to hit Zygarde
I
super
feel like
effectively.
it's for
I
all those
feel like Saint-
Zoomers that don't
Saint,
know.
I don't know if you realize this, but Raikou resists electric and it isn't weak to
Okay,
ice.
if you're using Raikou to switch into electric types, you need to retire.
Also,
what I'm
that's kind of the point of Tran as well, because you can like run Spidef Tran to help out with that.
I guess. Don't like Tran, but like whatever.
Tran is not a good like Goko check though.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Super, you run Fizz Def, eat the wild charge.
Okay, we'll pretend that Hiker doesn't. We'll
What?
pretend that Hiker's. We'll pretend that Hiker's left the room. Because I don't
Leafeon
want
is the optimal electric resist. I
Yeah,
rest my
it
case.
is. It is.
I rest my
Leafeon is
case. Actually,
pretty
no,
powerful.
Leafeon is Wish. That's about the only benefit to it.
But I like you. I like I feel like I like the mons themselves, but I don't really like how they work. Like I don't really like the team as a whole because I feel like the last few mons kind of ruin it. Alright, maybe that's just me.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you.
I don't know. I just don't know. Like, because I really like Feeny. I really like Mega Heracross, and like I do like Heatran and Zygarde as well. Like especially with Z access. But I just don't know if I can like I just don't know if I would have ended the draft like the same way. I definitely would have.
I could have sworn Saint
I
said
feel like-
something different about Heatran in the last video. Talk about character development.
It's
I
because
feel like-
I'm here.
The thing is that like Heatran it does have really good it does have really good offensive potency. I just don't like it defensively when it's your only steal because I feel like you're forced into like certain roles that like you don't really want your Heatran to be locked into.
It
You're
doesn't
very reliant on
seem
berries. So.
That doesn't seem that bad. You're relying on berries anyways, though.
Yeah, I guess. No, I feel like I would have tried to draft like a Rotom over Raikou, and I feel like the team would have had the points to be like a lot better.
I
So that's
mean,
maybe that's me. I mean, if it's like
Raiku's
just think
pretty
about it
cash
like
money.
think like Rotom Mo over Raikou, and like change the Leafeon to something like better. Like
That's actually
that sounds
true.
pretty
Because
true.
what you save like 5 points on that, so you get like an 8 pointer or something.
Yeah, and then you have 1 point left over as well with this, so you can get something a little nicer.
Yeah, that's why I said 8 points. Keep that 1 point
Okay.
in mind. Saying you got to do the quick math.
Sorry, hacker. I don't really know if you can do math. Period. So I just had to make sure I said it again, just to make sure. Did you feel like all your
No.
it's
Is that
most?
why you're always sad?
I
That
am
is
not.
why hacker is very
I
sad.
do not know. This is why. I do not know why this is my nickname in said server.
It's very Perdemos.
It's
Okay,
very ridiculous.
Well, let's hear your analysis on this rain team.
I feel like when you draft
Oh,
Rain, you
Count
should make your
Mario drafted a team.
when you draft Rain, you need to draft like something to make it not hard lose to fighting types. Because I
Oh,
don't really see
they just skipped that process completely. They do not
there's
care.
no T-Spike removal. Defoggers are horrible. Like you lose to you lose to like Medicham on the spot because you don't even have a single resist. If your resist is Pelipper, then you don't have rain. So I don't know what you're doing. Like I don't know. I personally think that this is one of the like worst conceptualized rain teams.
Yeah.
Just because like I don't really see how it has like I don't really see like I guess that Holucha is like a good way of like revenging a lot of the threats. But like if you have to bust out your Holucha early, then like they have like something that they can handle Holucha with. They trade with Holucha, then like you're just weak to you're just back to square one where you're weak to whatever their big threat is and you can't revenge it anymore. Like, that's just my problem.
This is another team that's like really weak to like bulky psychics.
Yeah,
And
I agree.
and D spikes.
Yeah, and T spikes because like I said, the removal is kind of suspect. I don't know. I feel like when you draft like these rain teams, like it's kind of weird to draft them without a Torn because Torn covers like a lot of those things that you need that like rain struggles with. Like it checks the fighting types. It gives you it gives you a reliable way to kill the grasses. It pivots. It defogs. Like it does pretty much everything you kind of need on a team like this. Like you don't really have that. Like your best Hurricane spam mon is like unironically Pelipper. Like I don't know if you want to keep Pelipper in that long because you waste turns for all of the other rain sweepers to work at their full potential every time you leave Pelipper in. And then like of course if Pelipper dies then your rain just dies. So
But yeah,
it's kind of sus.
look at Oris now.
Yes.
Okay, looking at RS.
So-
Mr. Agatold. This team looks like a U team. It's full stall.
No, this is
Oh.
not a team that I would use. There's a
had,
Poliwrath,
like,
there's
2
a
generations.
Luxray. I wouldn't use Mega Venusaur either.
Go forward 2 generations, and I think you would.
No.
What if this was a Sword and Shield team? You know, maybe.
I need to pull out the Poliwrath copy.
If this was Sword and Shield, I don't know. I wouldn't use it, but it'd be like, okay.
I just don't think it's very good as a whole. it's just kind
pretty
of
guard
bad.
weak.
I feel like it just doesn't do any damage, like immediately.
It's true. Except for Garchomp, like the entire
Yeah.
team is somewhat passive.
You just need Chomp to break every single wall in the game. It's not happening.
I just realized that there's I guess the only defogger is like at least one of the better defoggers. Like the other rockers aren't
Yeah.
exactly ideal, except maybe I mean Rock's Garchomp with SD is still like a potent threat. But like I'm not a fan of the team regardless, so it's kinda ugly. Okay, OS2 is a lot better. It's basically all of these Sand Sun teams basically.
Like T-Tar
With a
Yard is
Togetic.
definitely a really good core. Yeah, with Togetic, double balance.
Togetic.
Togetic's
Yeah,
insane.
T-Tar Yard is a thing that's been just spammed
Yeah.
forever. It's really good. You
Millennia.
trap the things.
For
with the
millennia.
tree, you get sand for drill. You know,
I really,
just
I really like
happy.
this team. I don't know if I don't know if not having a water type is gonna suck, because there's no water type. But like, I don't know if that's a problem or not. So like,
It's not ideal, but like I don't know. Is this team weak to ground? It kind of is, but it kind of isn't at the same time.
I think it
Like
depends on
nothing.
what ground type in I feel like it's the ground type in question. That's like that
If
like
it's
is a
like
problem.
if it's like a bulky ground, probably not. But if it's offensive, probably.
It's like something like Crocodile, for example. That's a little annoying to switch into. Like, especially if rocks are up. Like
It's
Crook
like
is
your best
really.
switch in is Togetic, and you don't want to switch that into Nog, obviously.
And then if it's like, I mean, if it's Lando T, then you're probably fine because you can like pivot around it. But like if it's like
Mhm.
guard shop, if it's like Crook, like this team is quite annoyed by those. But I do like
Yeah,
Stoutland. I think Stoutland's pretty okay in Sands.
that one's a pretty
At least
good like late game.
yeah, it hits decently hard. It's like a decent sand option. It also has
Yeah.
pursuit for if that like ever comes into like play. Like it does have pursuit, so that's kind of decent.
Could be good for ghosts. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Manectric for like not 1 points, 3 points is like
It's okay.
it's good enough. Manectric like it checks electric and stuff, and like you run Scarf, Fold Switch, and like T-Bolt overheat slash flamethrower. You run a hit on power. I'm pretty sure the mon also gets switcheroo actually.
Yeah.
Oh, it does actually.
It does.
Gets
Some toward one of my
trick-
teammates suggested switcheroo protect Scarf main.
What?
Like what the fuck?
I remember that.
Why the protect?
Goat.
It's so that after you switch
scout
you
the
can
move?
scout the map.
I guess.
It's kind of suspect.
I mean,
don't know.
that's not as good as it's not as good as Scarf DD Haxorus, but you know,
Scarf DD Haxorus might be the drip.
The
Last team is something that I think looks like pretty much like a lot of AM22 teams, except there's no Diancie, and there's no like.
and there's no
the
Aromatisse.
Pikachu though.
That's true. I do have a Pikachu. Pikachu is pretty fire.
That's
I
pretty.
can't
It's a
lie.
pretty fuego mon.
Just
It is
for
pretty-
I've seen
Wario,
it.
and you
I've
get
seen
your
it do a
first-
lot.
That's true. Pikachu is pretty fire.
Yo, wait,
Give it a
wait,
light
this team
ball,
doesn't
and
have a
it's
single
far
rocker.
screwed.
Wait.
Wait a second.
That
It
is
doesn't have
true.
a rocker. Then the only hazards are
Oh
Cliff.
no!
Perdamos. That is right.
No.
Oh, we know where we're
Okay, I
bringing our
don't-
mega pincers.
This
I like-
This team has been deemed unviable.
It's been unviable. It,
how do you not draft a team with a rocker?
they just
in
forgot, I
2020?
guess. Maybe they think
guess
Quag
you-
gets it. But
Well, Quagsire is a water and ground type. Unfortunately, it's not one of the two that get rocks.
it's very unfortunate.
That is unfortunate. That is very Perdamos. Very, very sad. Okay. As a whole,
Do you,
I don't know. These like decent players, bad teams, probably.
Probably.
Like,
is it viable or is it unviable? That's what we want.
I
to know.
mean, the top three is like really good together. So
I feel like the thing is that like as a whole, just looking at their drafts, like there are some drafts that just stand out as like really really solid, and there are some drafts that are completely just misses. Like the only OS2 that is viable is the second one, for example. It's like okay, I think this team will pass just because they have the great word life himself,
Okay.
the goat life.
Do we go to the finale?
Oh, we do go to the final. Oh, I'm so excited to talk about this team.
You're in the end game
waiting-
now.
I've been waiting for this for
the
a long time.
international intellions.
Oh,
Okay, well, let's dissect the players for a little bit.
okay.
NRG, calm, and awkward.
Do you
don't
know
know
these
anything about them.
captains? I don't.
What? Well, okay, wait. Let me go down to number 4. Who is this guy who just mashed his keyboard? He came up with a random name.
It's a good name.
Gorswerty what Wappa. He wants us to call him Matt, so his name is Matt
Matt.
for this. But yeah, Tom is apparently scouting really hard. I know that has talked about him quite a little bit.
Yeah.
Their first pick is the greatest player of all time, Hacker. Do you remember when we Hacker? I feel like we need to take some success for making Boot the person he is today, because I feel like we overhyped him quite a bit back in QDT.
20k boot.
Definitely
yeah,
got
we
hyped
do.
up in MLP a lot. That's for sure.
Yeah, cause I sent him to MLP and told him to play there, and if he proves himself, I'll invite him to OT.
20k
And
boost.
unfortunately, he's like 1-4.
Oh
I'm saying, damn.
no.
Not boots, not boots, not the
Yeah,
ghost.
because he doesn't have anyone building for him. That's why.
Yeah, that's true. And all I see him use is this dog shit rain.
The rain,
So,
metal rain.
the metal rain, that is horrible. But like,
Oh, that sounds
Boot is like
true.
Boot is a decent player. Like, I will say that like he is like somewhat limited in terms of building ability and like
Yeah.
I guess in some cases creativity because I do only see him use Melmetal, but I don't think he's bad. Like I think he's decent. Blind Messiah I've heard of, but I don't
Uh
know much about it.
oh.
You guys know Blind Messiah?
Kind of.
No, they went for
Absolute
20.5k.
Yeah,
legend.
we had him on our plan for like 5k. So I mean, and he went for
I've,
20k.
I've heard of Blind Messiah, but like 20.5k for Blind Messiah. Who the fuck is a Blind Messiah to go for 20.5k?
He went for the same
That's
as
a lot
Boot,
of money.
and yeah.
True. How
Bro,
can you how can
How can you be the same as
mad
Boot?
that he's
There's
nearing
been
his
can-
price
insane vid where
range.
they
how
came
can you be the
between
same
this team and
battle
like
with the
random battles.
Yeah, the two random teams were fighting for
That's
Blind
true.
Messiah.
True. I feel like this is what they did. Okay. NRG Tom and Awkward went on the Ranbats ladder, and they picked out some random people that they ran into on the ladder. That's how they drafted most of these players. Okay, Almighty Shy
Oh,
Guy.
jeez.
One of the Almighty goons. He captained in COK. I feel like he's okay. He's not horrible at
Yeah.
least, so that's something. Matt, because I'm not saying Quest 30 Wappa like for too many times.
Pretty quap.
Said it
I-
twice now.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying it a third time. I don't know anything about this person. I don't think anybody else has either. So he better be decent. Rival ET. I know I've seen him in the Great, the Esteemed Empire, but
E.T.
but,
phone home.
but
Oh
but
yeah, I played that dude in the DGBA tour. He's not bad.
Yeah.
yeah.
He's okay.
But if he contributed to any of these drafts, then he definitely needs to call. Then he definitely has to call
Oh
home
no.
for help. Because they're in desperate need of some help. Nerd is just apparently, I guess that supposedly NRG Tom and Awkward did quite a bit of scouting, but I don't know how he can scout and get Nurse Autolish as a good option.
he went for like 8k too. Like he wasn't
He
even a
went for
min.
a decent chunk of money.
He wasn't even
So
a min
I
bid.
mean, hey, NRG Tom and Awkward, if you end up watching this, I just don't understand why you want to help your other teams win, but like all glory to you. Bottom is Zaki.
Yeah.
Like I don't know anything about Zaki. It's formerly Zaki, I should say. I apologize. And I don't know anything about Autumn's playing ability.
It's not.
Except like
It's not the worst, I
Uber
would
is-
say.
and yeah, I don't think it's like
Fuck.
necessarily game over.
I feel like
I don't know Pate.
I feel like for
Peyton
4k,
is
he's
right.
better than Nerd.
Peyton's the person in GBA that
Yeah.
you guys said was good.
He's my
Or-
goon.
He's my goon.
He's your
Oh, he's
okay.
okay.
Okay, you guys don't have to jerk each other off for this person. Apparently
Wait,
this
who?
person team support.
Wait,
Peyton.
hold up. Yeah.
Peyton? Oh, pain.
Yeah, I don't know anything about Peyton except for there's two Peytons in this server for whatever reason. I think one's spies, but I don't know.
Yeah. Spies and them are like alt of each other. That's the joke.
I've never heard of a Hanny.
I think
I've never heard of
I think
to talk about
Hanny
Hanny.
is
Can't
like
say I have either.
I think Hanny is like Blind Messiah's IRL girlfriend or something.
Oh, okay. Well, if that's the case,
So Blind
then,
Messiah might
watch
just
out.
play on her account or something, I guess.
Watch out for the creeps, Hanny. If you really are
I
blind,
don't think they learned from TDT with the girl clause, but
The air moth.
there's a girl clause
Uh,
in TT.
the
What?
Frenchies,
What?
the
70K
Frenchies dropped like
air
68, yeah, like 70k on like a girl.
A
Huh?
random French girl.
They had like 100 budget left at the end of the draft because they didn't pick anyone, and they take like two like mid bid players, and they drop like the rest of their budget, which is like 70k, on like this one other random player, and then they say girl clause.
Bruh.
I can
That's
show you the screenshot after.
Okay.
Pretty funny.
Let's talk about these drafts for a second.
Oh no.
what is it with people drafting this Coco, Medi, Hydra, like Tran? Like the first 4 months are good, and then how do you just ruin it? Like, yeah, okay, it's like in hindsight, it's not as bad as I originally thought it was. Like I will say that these mons are passable, but like don't tell me you couldn't have drafted anything better with this Coco team. Like there has to be something better you can draft than Araquanid, Palisand, Sorina, and Weezing. Like, there's just no way those are the best mons
That
available.
core is actually going to be seen again, I think.
It's right there as well. It's on USUM3 as well, which it just doesn't make sense. Like these mons aren't that good. Like they're never gonna be that good. I don't know why people are. I don't know why you would draft these like instead of like well pretty much anything else. I would say probably like, they don't really make sense on the team because they kind of sap the momentum. Except for Serena, like they kind of sap the momentum a little bit. I mean, I guess Palisand's like a good budget value, but like I don't know if Reckonet's like I don't know if I reckon it's the play. I don't know how I feel about Weezing, but like Weezing's okay.
Whack when it is broken, it gets sticky webs.
It's true, Mr. Arcatol. It's a very astute observation. The next team has a team where the fastest mon is Virizion, so I don't feel like we need to go into much detail. But
I didn't
Hiker,
even know that.
Hiker, this is your opportunity. What are your thoughts on Melmetal?
Fucking dog shit, mon.
Frog
If you
and
no,
dog poop.
I wanna no. Let me explain. I'll go in depth because I don't know if Stink did or not. But literally, Melmetal, it puts as much. It only really puts in work when your opponent like doesn't properly prep for it, or like if they like misplay around it, because it can snowball with like the iron defense shit. But it's like helmet wears it down so easily, and it's like if you have like something to hit it hard, specially, it's not gonna do anything. It's like it's so dumb. It's like the lack of versatility hurts this thing so much.
Yeah.
And because all of its sets, you like go about dealing with it the
What you
same
really
way.
can do is run like the acid armor body press set, I feel.
Yeah, that set. I feel like that set can be potent, but it's like I feel like it's not that difficult to prep for. Like I say, you just need something special and like something that can take the body press, whatever.
And the thing is that like, what is this? What is the rest of this team supposed to do? Like,
Dude,
where
the rest
where
of
is
this
the
team is
offense?
kind of sus.
Where
Dude,
is-
it is like
where- where's
This
the
is the
offense?
Hiligo stall.
Yeah, like this is like the Theodore Monty stall, except everything is worse. That's what it is. Like, yeah. This team is certified unviable. It's straight up just stall. There's literally no offense on this entire team. Like, what is this team supposed to do? Like, I just don't see this team as like very good at all. Actually, I just take that back. I don't think it's good. Period. I don't know why I said it's very good. It's not good. Period. It's horrible. Like of all the mons that you could take, like in the entire available pool, Melmetal like into Slowbro into Porygon 2, like into this fat stall BS. Like
Well,
what is this?
the first three is kind of spicy, but like after that, I feel like you want some sort of
Like
offense.
how does this team break? Like how does this team break
Uh,
opposing walls?
You kind of have to just like try and play the long game.
You have to like
It's like-
get your
It's like the only
guaranteed
solution, yeah.
T spikes go up, and then you just have to outstall everything, with wish, with slack off, with teleport, with recover. You just have to, and then like I guess you just have to pray that it's enough to win your games, which I guess probably will. Like I guess it's not horrible. Like there is like I feel like there is like some parts of this team that is like they're like good pieces to each team, but it just kind of fell apart completely after the Porygon pick. Like it just isn't very good. There's also no speed. It's like have fun against Adamants and modest mons.
Any like 115 plus probably.
I don't know. I just like this team has no pressure on any team at all. Like it's just stall. Like it's not even good stall. Like it can't prevent hazards from going up because the
Well,
only
the-
removal on this entire team is Gligar.
Like
The only
Goat.
defogger.
That's
What is
okay.
this? Once spikes go up,
Saying,
once your
nice saying. I think you're underestimating the power of Virizion. That is their
you're not
speed.
underestimating shit.
That is
Virizion
that is their
Virizion,
breaker.
Virizion needs to sail off to the horizons because it's so bad. Nobody should ever use it.
Virizion feels like a trap mon, I feel.
It's not even a trap mon. What is like? What do you draft Virizion for? What can it do for
It
you?
doesn't really do anything, yeah.
Well, it
Everyone's
looks
switching
like it could be dangerous on paper, but it is. It is not dangerous.
The mon sucks. This team sucks. Moving on. Ah,
Dynamos.
this team is what I like to call Sash Arrow, Screens Keys, and if that doesn't win, click the X button. Because that's literally
This
what the
is
team
what I
is.
like to call. This is what I like to call the Owen.
Owen,
Owen.
where do you see the Alomomola or the Italian?
He's missing those mons.
It's not
Okay,
ideal.
but yeah,
This is more than Owen
It's not.
Wilson.
It's not ideal. That is what I will say.
that's one way of saying it. The only reliable rocker is Aerodactyl because Mew never wants to run rocks. Like, like, and then like all the offense like doesn't really put on initial offensive pressure. They all rely on setup. So basically, what's gonna happen is that you go arrow, you taunt, you get the rocks up, you die, you go into clef key, you set the 2 screens, and then after that, you just pray that your mons are enough to break. And if they're not enough, click the X button if you lost this game. Might as well ask for a restart.
So like, I want to say this because like I used Mickey Gyarados in ulti recently, and like the only like pivot move that this team has is U-turn slash Volt Switch Mew, which is you're not running it. You're not really gonna get Mega Gyarados in like aside from like a really like aggressive double, which is like I don't really see it happening much with like how the like how this team is built. That's like so necessary for in order to like go for game with Mega Gyarados, or at least just like break it.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Hiker.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just I just don't think that this team is very good. Like, I just feel like I don't know. There's just no initial power as well. So like, if your setup doesn't work, like how do you win a game? Like that's the thing. Like this team is mono setup. Like I guess that's I
Yeah.
guess that's cool.
I
But
was
like
saying, you guys play this team week 1. You better watch out.
it's okay. If we lose, I'm leaving the team server permanently. That's what I'm saying right now.
Oh.
If we lose the first week, I'm not coming back. I don't even care if it's playoffs. I'll have to retire.
Oh
TA
no.
tour.
He's retiring.
Oh, okay.
So you
Yeah.
might get retired by this team then.
I get retired by this team, man. What can I say? Chris Trappa, most powerful player on all planet. Okay, moving on to the Diane's team.
Switch for.
Okay, I just want to say that Dynasty Corviknight is beyond overrated. Like, I'm sorry, but like Corviknight just
Dude,
not as good as
it's
people make it
like
out to be.
it's like Diancie Celesteela.
Yeah, it's basically a Dynasty style, except for
With
Corviknight can
Corviknight.
default. It's basically Jesus, right? Yeah, unfortunately not. Corviknight only works against bad players, which unfortunately, since this is UCA, might be quite a bit. No T-Spike removal, only removal Corviknight.
To be fair,
This
this
is
is
a
their
very-
first season of no
Lurantis.
Diamond Poison, and we're
This is a
and
very
we're 4 teams
interesting
in,
team.
which is kind of a good sign.
Laurentis and a luck screen on my screen. I'm not quite sure what they're supposed to accomplish in any game possible.
Why is Lux rate
but
5
like-
points?
Why is your only physical attacker Crocodile? Like what? How does that help you? How is that gonna help you? I guess Kyurem can run Icicle Spear.
D-Dance
that's it.
Kyurem.
And I guess you're gonna run setup
That's pretty
Corviknight to
bad
create some
though,
offensive pressure.
with no T-Spike removal
Rough
though, 'cause
DNC, excuse
that
me.
makes subsets worse.
Like, are you gonna just run Sash Hazards a Selgor and pray that everything else can put up enough pressure? Like, is that the idea behind this team?
But like the
Is it-
thing is, this is like meant to be a balanced team. You're not like I don't
This is
think
meant to
the
be a balance.
offensive-
This is meant to be a balanced approach team. Like when you draft balance, you like run mono default Corviknight. It's like it's not gonna work. Like I don't know. What I've concluded after examining these Sword and Shield teams is that this team is feeling generous and they want to donate victories to other teams. But
Feeling generous. What's gonna happen when your team loses to them?
well, I'll just say that we're feeling even more generous, especially considering that this very powerful Gen 7 team, Mr. Akato. Do you see this, Mr. You see this very powerful team? Yeah, so
Oh
Torn T.
no.
Let's explain it here. So you
Oh
have
no.
Torn T, right? Good first pick.
Very
Then you have the
nice.
Mega Medi, good round two. Torn T Medi, that's a really good start, right? And then you decide, you know what? I want to get that round three Diggersby. Yes, let me get more of that offense. And no, it does not stop there. Then it just get even better because you get round four Slurpuff, round five Gudra, and then by round six they realize, damn, this draft is fucking ass.
Get
Savali
sticky
needs to come in and
webs.
try and patch up the holes. So they get round six Savali, and then they decide that they need a sweeper. So they get almost starting to Piloswine, and that's the team.
Explain some of these things for those of you that are not as educated at Pokemon and need the explanation. This team has two rockers, Omastar and Piloswine. This team this team has no grounded poison, so it relies on freaking
To
Silvally.
volley poison.
Silvally poison. This team's only flying resist is Omastar. This team's only Pokewater is also Omastar. And this team is just straight up trash. Who drafts like
Also,
this?
there isn't a single psychic resist.
There's not psychic resist either. So I've come to the conclusion that you need Silvali's Steel, Dark, and Poison at the same time to win any games with this team. This
Yeah.
is literally this is literally the type of team that like is guaranteed to lose because no matter how good you are and whatever you do with it, you're guaranteed to have a worse team than your opponent. It literally does not like you cannot draft worse than this pretty much. How do you draft something like this?
This
Okay, Saint
is
and Clone, you remember earlier on when we started, I said that we had a development.
Yes, we had a
Okay,
development.
Clone, after this recording, I'm going to send you 2 screenshots. I need you to put these 2 screenshots on the screen right now.
okay.
All I'm going to say.
Okay.
Oh, is it
Thank you.
this is the stuff that Peyton said? Okay.
This is the intel
The
of
Intel.
this team.
The
Wait.
Intel. Eon.
who created this masterpiece?
We do not know. We do not know.
Oh, I feel like I could
almost
guess. I feel like I
need the
could guess
creator.
that it might have been Nerd.
I just want to say though, like how do you draft such a horrible team? Like it's not like you have one player drafting this team. You have two captains and 9 teammates, and you can still and you come up with a consensus that this is your best team that you can come up with. The Torn T and a Mega Medi. Like how can a team like go from that and just completely devolve into the rest of this BS? Like this is just absolutely horrible drafting. Like I guess that you want your opponents to win every time they play this team? Question mark. Like that's what the team is. Like it's horrible. Okay. Okay. So now that we're done with the team, because I don't want to keep it on my screen, should we move on to the next one? Should we move on?
It
Oh,
gets. Does it get better?
You-
Whoever drafted this team, go watch some agency videos and reteach yourself Pokemon so that you can start drafting better teams for the future. Go watch some replays and maybe you'll improve your drafting
Replays.
skills because this is not a good team at all. You need some help. You have brain damage. Next.
Bro, this next team is revolutionary. They have Excadrill, but there's sand on it.
Oh what?
Oh my lord, there's sand.
It's new
We have,
waves.
we have been blessed. And Hiker, this is revolutionary. I feel like I feel like we're seeing something new. I feel like we're seeing something completely different.
And they also have Quilladin on the sand team, which is kind of weird. He's never going to be able to get.
Yeah, that does not
More than
help Mr. Golden
25%.
recovery.
There's
Okay, they
also a
just-
Celebi, so I think they just were like, you know what? I don't know what a good one pointer is. Let's just get Quilladin.
Let's just get Quilladin because so other people can't.
That's
I
suspect.
guess.
I do like some parts of this team though. I do like the
Yeah.
first 4 months plus Culis. I think they're all quite good on this team.
Yeah. The
I
idea
don't
is
really
good,
like
but
I don't really like the other 3 months. I don't really see how they contribute to this team. I don't see how they like make it better because I feel like Primarina was like this much pressure on it because you're taking sand damage and like it's your only bulky water and it's your only fairy. Like I feel like Primarina is going to be pressured to do a lot, and like I just don't think it's going to be able to recover enough to actually do the defensive job it needs to on this team. Like that's probably my biggest criticism. I think that Gen 7 Celebi is absolutely horrible, especially if you don't make it your Zmon. because Signal Beam exists and so does Pursuit, and you just kind of get bopped. Like it isn't like anywhere as good as it is in Gen 8 by any means. Like I feel like you can draft something better. I guess that it does have Recover in Sand, which is somewhat helpful, but I still don't think it's like worth drafting over something like Tangela, for example, which would make a lot more sense on this team. I'm pretty sure that Tangros is like the same point value too. I'm not sure why they didn't take Tangros instead. Doesn't really make much sense.
Needed that rock.
Celebi facts, and it gets Healing Wish. Two. Wait. So they have two Healing Wish mons. Oh, what is this called?
Goddard.
It's the
Double.
double. I don't know. It's not double balance though.
No.
we have to
They're
we
healing
have to come up
wishes.
we have to double to come up with a word to describe double healing wish. If there's double balance, we need to come up with something.
Revolutionary.
Double
revolutionary.
healing.
But
That sounds horrible. That doesn't have a very drip at all. We need to give it a better name, Hiker. What's a drip?
Need
This
to
is
come up
too
with
difficult.
it before we end off this video. How about that?
We'll
Okay.
come back to that.
We can ponder it while we go over them.
Speaking of Dougal teams, like this is a Dougal team. The Steel had Drake on Gardevoir. They felt like the first 3 mon. They felt like in their Sword and Shield 1 that the Palisand Araquanid Serena core was just that good, so they
it's such a
drafted
good core.
exactly.
It's such a
That's
good
actually
core.
funny. They legit got that core in 2 different teams. What the?
Such a
They
good
were
core.
like, you know what? They were like, Komala's the next best mon, so I'll just take this. Like to be
For
honest,
God.
it's not horrible. The same issue. It's the same issue with the first team. Like that had the same core on it. These mons are just like they're just not as good as like you want them to be. Like they're not reliable to like act as like they're not that reliable. So you really have to like you don't have to outplay whenever you use this team. Like and it's just like you can't really tell me that like after Scolopy you have what 18 plus 11 29 points. You can't really tell me with 29 points for 4 months these 4 are the best ones you can get. Like there's just no way. Like you can take
Yes,
a
they are.
Swampert, you can take a Swampert, you can take a Cofagrigus, take like a cheap grass, and you can take something better than Komala. Bam! The team looks so much better. But nah, Palisand, Araquanid, Serena, Komala, Jesus W. You can't really tell me
I
this
just-
is
I just want to say I just looked at the Oris Warren team real quick, and Hiker Toad's about to lose his mind.
Oh
I'm
no.
gonna lose my mind. Why am I losing my mind?
Oh,
We'll
round
find out
6.
soon.
Round 6.
Oh,
Wait,
it has Volcanion!
There's Volcanion. Oh no.
Okay,
Gen 6 Volcanion. Maybe that's the key. That is the key to winning in Gen 6.
okay.
They just refused to take Omega 2, so that's how much they prioritize Volcanion.
Yeah, who needs
Okay.
Megas?
Okay, I guess we're done with Gen 7 now, so let's jump into ORS.
Uh,
I mean, the team has a him on top and a Swadloon, so I don't really see anything good.
They need the removal
is a
for
swan.
Volcanion.
Oh, Togekiss isn't a good enough defogger nowadays, I see. Full balance.
Swadloon is a Wadgoon.
Double balance with triple balance. They have
Where's
the
Oh, Jotan has Wish too. Triple balance!
Jolteon.
Oh my god. Oh my god, Hacker.
If double balance can only lose to hacks, what does triple balance lose to? Please explain.
It
doesn't.
doesn't lose. It physically cannot lose.
You lose with triple balance, I think you might have to retire. Triple balance is just that. It's just that meta defying that if you lose with it, you should feel the shame of losing with it. You should retire.
Also, I don't know what about it. I think it's just the latter half of the mons just look so like bad.
Well, Hacker, tell me what this team does against T-Spikes again.
what's wrong with Volcanion?
Well,
T-Spikes.
no,
T-Spikes
we're
is annoying.
ignoring Volcanion. Volcanion is perfect, but Jolteon Hitmontop Swadloon is a very powerful core, but I'm not too sold on it.
There's a huge speed jump as well from Greninja to Rashi. But like that's whatever.
I mean, sometimes that happens. Not much you can really do.
There's no
That's
Mega
not the
on this
worst case
team,
scenario.
which looks like a big issue, I think.
Also, not necessarily like the worst case scenario, but like it's definitely
Yeah.
annoying. I don't really see why you draft him on top and Swadloon over like a 6-point mega and like a 1-pointer that's better than Swadloon. There's got to be something. Like, what is Swadloon doing? Like, do you
Yeah.
need web that badly? What are you
It's
doing?
just there to swap
Also,
Moon around.
actually, I feel like Volcanion isn't even good on this team. Why your water killer is Jolteon solely Jolteon? Yeah, I don't like this.
Because Volcanion is meant to check all the fire
It's
types.
the fire
It's a
resist.
switch-in.
It's the fire resist.
Wait, what do you mean?
Oh,
wait,
it's the
wait,
fire
hiker,
resist.
excuse me. There's 2 water killers.
Swadloon.
Or-
The Swadgoon, and then there's Jolteon in that order of priority.
I
Granted, did watch-
don't think the Swadgoon does that.
Actually, in
Am-
Oblivion, there's an iconic replay
Oh yeah.
taking 43 from an ice beam from Kieran Black Life Orb. So Swadloon must be Jesus, is what I'm hearing.
No, that just means that it checks ice types. It still doesn't check water types.
Okay. Oh, your
Bug
opinion's wrong.
bites the ice types. What do you mean? It bug bites the competition.
What?
Bug bites. Oh my.
Okay. Okay. Any last thoughts about Hiker's Dream Team? Before we move on.
Oh, the
Alright.
next team has a Hitmonchan. This is even better.
I mean, this team is legitimately good, though. I
this
feel like.
this team is okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this team's actually like good.
Like this team is like actually good, which is a surprise considering that how the first 8 teams were kind of bad.
I feel like the
So
Hitmonchan
hungry.
could probably be a better fighting, but overall it's
They
okay.
have an extra point.
Yeah.
Maybe no. I feel like they needed it for removal. I think that's why they drafted it for, because Crobat's the only
Yeah.
removal otherwise.
I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, they
guess,
definitely did.
I guess the one thing to look out for is that Dynasty doesn't have the speed jump, but like, that's not a huge issue. You just run
Yeah,
protect.
you need to like run protect. You
Yeah.
just need to play
You
like
might-
aggressively with it. I
Might be
guess.
forced to protect. Yeah.
But, like as a whole, like I do actually really like this team. I think it's quite good. I'm not sure like why you couldn't draft like this in the first other 8 your other 8 teams. But it is what it is. Like this is by far the best team I
Yeah.
think you guys drafted. Good job on that.
Yeah.
I just don't know. I just don't know though. Like, how can this ORAS team be like at this level and all your other teams be like 5 steps below? Like, how does that happen? How can you draft like this unbalanced? Doesn't make any sense. Moving on though.
I see the Ursaring. I know for a fact SYP said to pick Ursaring.
Yeah, it's agent.
Dude, this looks like what even is this?
I mean, it gets raped by T-Spikes once again, but we'll forget that.
Dude, is it
Guys,
just
okay.
do you
Ursaring
do
has
you
guts.
know
Ursaring has
Saint
guts.
Vesta's Cash Gang team looked a lot like this.
Who's?
I feel like this
Vesuvius.
Oh. He had an Ursaring?
considering that
No, he did. That was the missing piece.
Oh, that
to
was,
his team.
he would have
did
won it
not-
all if he had
he
the
didn't-
Ursaring.
made top
He did
16,
not
but
have
he
the
would have made,
Ursaring.
He would have.
top 16, but he would have made top 1 if he had the Ursaring.
Yeah, that was the missing no.
This team,
Alright.
like, why is there a Halucha here? Like, what is this accomplishing?
It is
what
very weird.
what-
What
what-
does
what kind
Halucha
of
do in this gen? In general.
Well, I mean, it has Brave Bird, it has Sky Attack, Power Herb. I think it
It
has
doesn't get
default
Brave
quick,
Bird in this gen. It doesn't get Brave Bird until.
but I mean, it has Power Herb, Sky Attack, which is probably better to activate
Yeah.
on Burden.
I
I don't know.
guess.
I think that the first 4 mons are good. I wish I had better removal. It's like the removal is really just Dawnfen. Like I guess you can run defog on Scizor and like maybe I think Latios
I
gets it too.
mean,
Like,
what
it's
do you,
not ideal.
yeah,
So why
this
do
is
you
like
say
as
this
good as removal as you can really get, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's
No, it's just
yeah.
something. Is it just me? Or is there something about this team that you just can't like? You just don't like, but you can't really figure it out.
Yeah.
But it's definitely the Halucha Ursaring, but
Like,
feel like- I feel
don't
like-
even know.
I feel like the biggest
don't
problem with
know.
Halucha is there's so many good fightings
Saint,
in
Saint,
Auras.
I think it's the Sylveon.
It's the Sylveon.
Okay, well, Sylveon's horrible, but at least in this gen it hits a lot harder.
Sylveon's actually a little bit dripping in
Yeah,
Auras.
Pixelate.
Drip.
I feel like
I
they're
wish this
just
team had,
better
like,
fightings, than Halucha.
More breakers.
Yeah.
Like I feel like you rely on Latios.
That is true.
Ursaring is a breaker.
Ursaring is a breaker.
Physical.
Oh my, okay, my bad. That's
the
why they
missing
got
piece.
Ursaring. They realized.
Dude, I just don't know. I feel like, with the exception of ORAS 2 and ORAS 3, every single one of these teams sucks. And it's just like it's just, or, I mean, maybe they don't suck. Maybe that's an exaggeration, but they're definitely not like particularly good either. And I'm just not sure. Like, I'm just not sure how like people would draft this poorly, like on average. But I guess it is what it is.
It's
It is what it
definitely something. All
is.
right, all right. We need to come up with a triple balance term.
Oh,
Oh,
yo,
we
yo,
have
yo,
to-
yo, okay, no. Okay,
Wait,
so I figured it out like immediately. This is pretty genius.
oh no.
Okay, so I'll have to explain it because you definitely won't get it at first. So basically, it's called the double blowjob.
What?
Okay, the video's over. Thank you for watching. I'm kidding.
No.
Wait, what
Okay,
about,
so
we need to get the double healing wish too.
no, so let me explain um, because you heal them up to full. It can be at whatever. You heal them, you get rid of the status, and then you also heal their PP.
What?
So it's like you gave them a blowjob, and then they got what's it called, reinvigorated.
The post nut clarity.
Yes,
Just post that in LG, by the way.
and so you got double of it.
This is
Wait,
the
that was
most.
double healing wish. We need to get triple balance. No, wait, no, I was wrong. Might be.
It happens. It happens.
Right, I think that's it, right?
It's the last team.
Yo, are you guys doing playoff predictions?
No, maybe some other time.
Hiker, who do you
Oh,
think
you guys
will make the
are-
playoffs between
I
these
don't
teams?
know. I don't know any. I don't. I'd have to look at it. I don't. I forget half of these teams already.
You can click on rosters to see.
Hacker, why is child's profile picture your face?
Wait.
Oh
Um,
no.
Excuse me.
Wait.
Excuse me.
That's so powerful. I'm taking a
Okay, I'm even
screenshot.
more confused. Isn't that the picture I
Thumbnail
sent like
material.
yesterday? He's not in LD. How did he get that?
I posted it
Same
yesterday.
put it in DGBA.
Why didn't say do that, bruh? Wait, was it the thing? Cause you never smile or whatever.
That's why you have the
That's
sad
why-
face.
Shall we
Oh.
end the
that
video,
makes
guys?
sense.
Oh,
Yes,
Hiker
yes.
told you
That's
the
probably
outro.
that's probably
You
a
might as well.
good idea.
Okay.
All right, my little tadpoles. Thanks for tuning in. Like and subscribe. Deuces.